since I got that stream on in front of you all. I am a guilty man. I am a guilty man. I know. Don't you just this wall of Madge I cannot tolerate. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't need to see this so much Madge. I'm guilty. I did deceive you ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. I mean, I wasn't the most horrific person that ever existed, all right? I had my reasons. Let's put it that way. I had my reasons. I did. I had my reasons to deceive you. Even up until that point, I wasn't sure everything was going to go ahead. Right? Literally, Rianjay. Sometimes I end up in this situation, my friends, where I just need to sort of keep things together, you know? It's the rules of nature. But we're back! And I have no secret plans. At least for now. I have no secret plans. I have no secret plans as of right now to leave you behind or anything like that. It's fine. It's fine. We're good. We're good. I have no secret plans. Oh, it did feel grim. It did. I'll be look, like, no exaggeration. It felt grim. I had to tease. I was like, oh, we're definitely doing Mouse Boy next week. You know, it's going to be fine. We'll probably do it like Wednesday. The Yoshi P interview is still a secret. It's a secret even to me. It's a secret even to me. It's a secret even to me, unfortunately. That thing is not that is so secret that even I don't know about it. That's a bit of a bummer. But we're trying. We're trying. All I can say is we are trying our best to get in and do what we can. We've been literally trying to talk to Japan for months now. Like, the Blizzard thing took 3 months of work. 3 months to get that together. 3 months of back and forth, negotiation, all in good vibes. All in good vibes, but yeah. 3 months. We cancelled the trip once after we fucking booked and paid for everything. But we got there. We got there. Yeah, it was 3 months. About 3 months. Maybe 2.5, something like that. It took 2.5, 3 months to organize this trip to Blizzard. And get it all in the books and make clear what we were trying to achieve and get all those things done. Yeah, this is why you could not color your hair. It's exactly why I couldn't color my hair. Yes, it is exactly why. You have put 2 and 2 together. Yes, it's the exact reason I could not dye my hair is because I was supposed to be going and interviewing at Blizzard and doing all that kind of stuff. I have a gift. I see Dan's in the chat. Did you get one, Dan? Hey? Did you get one, pal? Now, genuinely, I do know what this is. Oh, you got yours, Dan. Oh, okay, you got yours. I haven't opened mine yet, but I received this. This is from Blizzard. This is from Blizzard, but it is from Blizzard EU. I want to be absolutely clear. Our trip to Blizzard was not sponsored. Blizzard did not ask me to go or anything like that. I paid for the trip so I could ask whatever I wanted. But at the same time, this is just pure coincidence. At the exact same time, and more importantly, Blizzard EU, which is a different team, did not know that I was going to Blizzard US. They didn't know. So it was kind of awkward because we were like, yeah, but we can't do it because we're actually at Blizzard, the Blizzard campus in Irvine. Because I was supposed to like open this a couple of days ago, I think, maybe yesterday or over the weekend. And I was like, well, we can't because I'm not here. I'm actually at the thingy, but I am sponsored for this. So as upfront as I could possibly be, I am sponsored for this. But it's awesome. It's for the Dragonflight launch. I'm going to a castle where I'm going to be teaching the Yogscast how to play World of Warcraft. Pretty sure Lewis knows how to play World of Warcraft. I'm pretty sure Lewis does know how to play World of Warcraft, considering he got his start on YouTube via World of Warcraft. But I will teach Lewis how to World of Warcraft. That's what's going to be happening. I'm going to be going to a big castle. So let's open it and see what it says. Break the seal. Oh, it's on parchment. It's on parchment. I'll be streaming from there. It's fine. Dear heroes and future heroes of Azeroth, the Dragon Isles await, but are you truly ready? I'm not ready, actually. I haven't even logged in for the pre-patch. No, I'm not ready. To prepare you for the adventures that lie ahead, you are invited to a small council at Dragonflight Castle. There you will be truly immersed in draconic lore and learn the art of dragon riding. See, I've already done that, so I guess I am prepared. You will work together to prepare for the ultimate dungeon duel. Am I doing a dungeon duel? Nops! 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 Nops!
Yes.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Nops is here, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Nops is here from the Netherlands. He's going to be here to help us organize this video that we filmed. Nops is here. What's the dungeon duel I'm doing? What's that?
I don't know.
Shouldn't you know?
No.
Oh.
I've been kept secret that part.
Oh, interesting. I'm doing the ultimate dungeon duel.
There's still some mysteries about what's actually going to be happening at that castle.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Surprises. Oh, excellent.
Surprises.
Oh.
To me as well, and to you in that respect as well. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I was confused. I'd heard of a dungeon duel, but there we go. I'll be doing a dungeon duel. Then and only then will you be ready to harness the power of dragons. Okay. All right. Interesting. A dungeon duel. So I guess I'll be facing off probably against Dan's team. That's a free win.
Ooh.
I guess they're going to pit us against each other, right? Because yeah, Taliesin and Co's going, Dan's going, so I mean...
like Jari be there.
Jari's going. Oh, we haven't seen Sphere in ages. That'll be nice. Sko's going.
Yeah, Sko's be there.
Yeah.
Basically the entire UK team.
Yeah, if Lewis fails me...
Yeah. Dude.
You better not be a shitter, Lewis.
Dude.
I'll just carry the whole team on my back. Easy. Easy. But I do have something to show you. I have something unique globally. Check this out. All right, so you probably know what this is. This is the Dragonflight Collector's Edition. However, get jelly. Mine is signed by everybody who made Dragonflight. I've got Holly Longdale, John Haidt, I've got Ian, I've got everybody on here. Mine is like, am I serious? I'm absolutely serious. Yes, mine is signed by Morgan Day's on here. There's a load of names on here. Mine is all officially signed. Kind of hard. They all were polite and like put their signatures kind of subtly. Not all 7,000. I do not have all 7,000 employees on here, but I've got some big ones. Tina Wang's on here. Yeah. Got Maria. Got Paul Cubitt. Yeah. See, this is a great. This is something I did not ask for. They went and got it for me because I was really lucky. While I was there, the shipment of the Dragonflight Collector's Editions arrived. So they said, do you want us to grab you one and we'll get everybody to sign it for you? And this is the only one in the world that exists with all these signatures on it. You know who didn't sign it, though? What a scumbag. Halinka. Halinka didn't sign it. And it's not just because we didn't ask him. He should have known. He should have known. Yeah, Halinka, like, totally screwed me over there. What a jerk face. You know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't sign it. Halinka was too match. He wasn't match. Lied, not everybody. Yeah, it's missing Halinka. Halinka drove 3 hours to talk to me for an hour and then got back in his car and left. What a gangster. What a gangster. He drove like 3 hours to come and see me and then just pieced out completely and went back home again. Halinka, I did get this. They thought this was hilarious, okay? Like, the guys at Blizzard thought this was fucking hilarious. They gave me Covenant pins. And I can't even express to you how many times Ian brought up Covenants with a giggle, like, laughing at me. He was like, well, I'm sure we're just going to talk about Covenants for, like, 2 hours, right? We're going to talk about... Dude. Dude. Yeah, he was trolling me so hard. He really was. He was hard trolling. They were like, well, if anybody will appreciate these, it's you. I'm like... They gave me some really cool shit, though. Water bottle, Dragonflight water bottle. I think it's Dragonflight. It came in a Dragonflight box. Coffee thing? Yeah, it's Dragonflight merch, see? I got a Dragonflight coffee cup. I don't drink coffee, but the water bottle for sure. Yeah, that's funny. So some of this stuff we'll give away. For sure. Like, they gave me a whole bunch of swag. I actually got charged a $100 fine for bringing all this stuff back. At least they give you a stack of potions. Yes. Well, I said yesterday, it talked a little bit about Trip last night, but repeatedly it did get brought up that I had been to the campus before. To which I had to correct at least 5 people that no, because on the day I was supposed to come to the campus, I got banned from World of Warcraft, and Blizzard called me and said, do not go to the airport. Which was, I think they kept bringing it up to tease me and to be just trolling me in general. They were like, well, you know the layout of the campus, right? I'm like, no, I don't. Actually, no, I don't. Was that for the potion stacking? Yes, it was. Yes. I had been booked to go and do a summit. I think it was for Shadowlands. Yeah, it would have been, because I got banned during BFA. It was a summit for Shadowlands to talk about our thoughts and suggestions going into the Shadowlands. And on the day I was supposed to go, I got banned. Which is really unfortunate. Like, the timing was not good. I mean, Sekiro came out that week, so it was swings and roundabouts, but generally speaking, considered to be a bit of a faux pas on my behalf. Of all my regrets that I do have, because obviously we could have done things better, that is one of the bigger ones. That is one of the bigger regrets I have, is that situation ended that way. So because you got banned for XP pots, we got Covenants. To be fair, I fought the good fight on the Covenants. I fought the good fight. I did my due diligence. You know, as an ex-GM, suspended, not banned, pet peeve. I think the world knows it as a ban. But yes, what a wonderful trip it was. So yeah, to put context to what we went, because the internet was fully speculating, because we did that awesome tweet with Ian. I'm really glad that went well. I wrote that. I had the picture in my mind of what I wanted to do. I thought it would just be a funny idea. I pitched it to them as like, hey, we're making this a secret that we're going, but the announcement should be something really fun that people get into. So I was like, I have this idea where maybe Ian zings me, and you know, and that's it. We don't need to say anything. We could just put this message out with just a little video, and just let it do its thing. That was my plan. I put a lot of eggs in that basket of like, what if we just put out this video, we don't put any words to it or anything, we just put this little, and we make it an announcement to you guys, our morning crew here, because obviously I was not streaming, and I did tell you we wouldn't stream Monday, but I did not tell you we would not be streaming for the entire week. And let's just hope it works. I think the surprise, it was actually really hard to shoot in a way. Did you guys realize it was the Blizzard statue straight away? Because that was one thing. Mike, who filmed it, Nups filmed it. Did you realize it was the statue immediately before you saw Ian? Yeah, okay. Well, we tried everything to get an angle that wouldn't come out that way. We really did. We genuinely tried. We were like, there's just no way of getting around it. Because the statue's not that huge, right? It's not super huge. It's big. It's hollow, which is it lets some of the magic out. It's hollow, like when you bang on it, it's hollow. But it is brass. I mean, it should make sense. It's hollow. I mean, it is fucking ginormous. But yeah, it was. It went really well. Like that was cool. I loved this. I was so happy this paid off. And as some people probably noticed, Ian was very up for this. We actually filmed this in 2 takes, which I'm really chuffed about. This was just 2 takes. All I said to Ian was, all you need to say is, didn't you quit? Look confused while I'm there and just be scrolling through your phone like we're chilling. That's all you need to do. Is like, just do that. And I said, that's enough. We need it to be really short, really concise. I did have to call the crisps chips. Sorry, Europe, but you know, it's one of those things. The crisps decision was a big deal. Because everything we try, everything in the US is so big. And I want to be clear on this. Absolutely nobody who had these likes Pringles. And then once again, I had to keep eating these things. Otherwise, it would have looked really fake. And I was like, they're so salty and so dry. I was like,
Hey guys, I'm really sorry there's no stream today.
yeah, I mean, there's no way you didn't know this was where we were. Now I look at it on a big screen, there's absolutely no way you didn't immediately know where we were. Yeah. There is no way you didn't know. Yeah, of course. Well, the whole the idea on paper is that you wouldn't know, and then it cuts to Ian as a complete shock, and then we panned out to the statue. But I had never seen the statue. I had never been there before, so I wasn't really clear on how this was going to work. I didn't know whether we'd have to sit on the floor. There is a pedestal around it. But yeah, I just didn't know. So like when we got there and because we filmed it on a phone to look a bit more authentic as a phone announcement. So we filmed it on a phone. And I was like, yeah.
I've got some stuff to do. I don't actually think we're going to be back till like Monday. Yep.
Oh, this works so well. This worked so well. It really did. Ian was such a star. He really was. Ian was such a star. That pan as I moved the chips, this was fucking great. That's down to Nups filming it. Yeah, like all I said is get your phone out and just like scroll through your phone like you're chilling. And we're sat next to each other. Yeah, it was really good. The reveal was fucking awesome.
Didn't you quit?
I'm well pissed off. All I thought is like when he says that I need to look pissed off. Like fuck you, man. Like rubbing it in. I need to look pissed off. Yeah, that's all I said. I do. Look at the size of this Pringles can. Look at it. That's like the smallest Pringles can that was in the store. We went to an entire supermarket to get these Pringles. That is the smallest one they had, and it makes my hands look like little baby hands. Yeah, that's the smallest they do. America is just insane. Insane. There was 2 aisles of chips, and this is like the smallest can they did.
Never said that.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, but that's the size of statues you can see, like up there, getting there. The country, we couldn't handle the food. We could not handle the food, like, at all. We could not handle the food. These were the guys who looked after us for the entire week. So this is Linksy, Randy, and Lugia. These guys were just... Yeah, these guys just fucking did everything for us. They did all the sound checks. They did the lighting checks. They escorted us. I mean, obviously, we had a chaperone. We had a chaperone everywhere we went. We had a chaperone, which is completely fair. Chris didn't come, no. So our original plan was to be sending the footage back to Chris so he could go through it while we were there, but the files were too big. I think in total, just the chat with Ian was 1.8 terabytes. Because we got like 2 hours with Ian. So it just wasn't possible. Even using Blizzard's internet, it was just too much. And we did 13 interviews or 15 interviews and in total, and that was from 3 different camera angles, so each one of them is multiplied by 3. So we had to go out and buy another 4 terabyte hard drive while we were there. I had to go to Best Buy and buy a new hard drive just to accommodate the sheer amount of data that we have, and that's not including B-roll of going through the studios and doing all that kind of stuff. We tell us about the lawsuit. It's the reason I said I'll not return to WoW. Absolutely. Yeah, so let's give context as to why I did this. All right, let's be ultra clear on why I did this. So, first things first. I asked, I said I would pay for it. It was not a sponsor deal. It was not a marketing deal. It was purely on the basis that I wanted the freedom to ask what I wanted to ask and not be there to fulfill a certain commitment. All right, so like the thing at the castle, which I'll be doing for Blizzard EU, that's obviously the goal there is the launch of Dragonflight and to make that good. So I asked the question after the Max interview. So I did get to spend some time with Max. I got to see where the Team Liquid facility and all that, which was awesome. But I watched the interview with Max and it was kind of the same thing. Dan's done a few and he's been through this process now a few times. Is you kind of, the usual routines, you kind of send the general topics over, but they allow you to ask whatever you want for the most part, but you're under like time constraints, right? So when you're doing it like that and you're trying to meet a certain commitment, to your audience, right? If I'm doing a live interview, say on Twitch or something, I kind of have a commitment to you guys to get over certain topics. Make sure we hit certain topics of interest. And you might have like half an hour, and I've been lucky and I've had an hour a few times. But if a topic comes up, you can't really expand on it a lot, right? You just don't have time. Otherwise, they're going to cut the interview off. Like, there's only a certain amount of time you can talk to these guys. They're really busy. So my problem with it was I really wanted to dig into various things and talk about it with a back and forth in a more podcast style. And so that was what I approached them with. I was like, look, if I pay for it and I fly my team over there, I flew me and Nups over, can we just have time? That's all. That's what I was essentially paying for, was time. So we're not constrained. We're not doing this during some sort of marketing media blitz where they're doing like, you know when you followed a game, when they're doing the media blitz, there'll be like 9 or 10 different sources that are getting interviews, and they do that all pretty much in a day. So they're like, well, I can't spend time with you because I've still got to do like 8 other interviews. Like the other people are waiting for us. So it's like, if I come over to literally where you are, all you need to do is come downstairs and give us some time. That's it. So oddly enough, they said yes, which I was shocked by. I was like, they were like, yeah, okay. Cool. And then the question became, is who is it you want to talk to? But more importantly, what did we want to talk about? The lawsuits, the sexual harassment cases, the period of time from Shadowlands all the way to now. Why has Dragonfly, and 2 major topics. One was the lawsuits, what's happened, what have they changed internally, because it really upset me whenever we would boot up World of Warcraft because we wanted to check out Dragonflight, and there'd be people here who are probably here now who are like, I can't watch sexual harassment game, because that's how they feel about it, right? It's like this, but there's 7,000 people who work at Blizzard, and the amount of people who caused all these issues is obviously minuscule, and they're gone now. Can confirm they are just fucking out the door. So it was like, that sucks. But who knows what's happened? Who knows? Because all we hear is like media articles, news posts, things like that. But we haven't really heard from Blizzard. So I was like, let's go and find out. Let's go and ask. Nobody's asking these questions. Let's go and find out. Let's get in there and go and see what's going on. Let us be the people that are asking those questions. So I went in. That's one of the reasons I wanted to go. And the other reason for my own personal thing is that Dragonflight is completely changing the core gameplay loop of World of Warcraft. Like, entirely. There's no mandatory content. They're going for a totally different approach. And whether or not this is the internal descriptor or whether it was just something said in an interview, but it's being called the third era, the start of the third era of World of Warcraft, is how it was mentioned to me. Is this is like we're beginning the third era of WoW, and that's going to change a lot of things. So I'm kind of down with that. So first era would be kind of up to like Wrath of the Lich King and Kata, and then the second era would be kind of WoD-ish onwards. Like, it's a very vague guide when mandatory content came in. And borrowed power was a much bigger factor. All those kind of things. That's like the second era. So the second era is like coming to a close. They're changing a lot of stuff. And if you've played Dragonflight or you've looked at the beta, you'll realize there's a lot different. And it's going to be a weird transition for a lot of people. The core gameplay has changed a lot. There is no Torghast. There is no required dailies. All that stuff is kind of going away. It has gone away. So I want to know why that happened. Was that just like financially the sub numbers dropped too much, or is there what's changed internally with the direction of the team? So I wanted to ask all about that stuff, and then of course I had some selfish reasons to go. I got to talk to I said this yesterday, but it's worth bearing in mind. I think it's this conversation. Like, Tina here is the head of all the, when I say they, it's teams of people, right? So this is Morgan and Tina. Tina is in charge of all the artwork in World of Warcraft. Like, Giga Chad. Absolute Giga Chad. Like, talking about why does the raid look like it does? Because it's basically, they've done a Molten Core theme, right? Why have they done that? Like, so it was Dragonflight, I've done videos where they considered flying to be the bastard child of World of Warcraft, right? So why now you have flight in the name and you get flying like pretty much immediately in Dragonflight. That's another big change. Like flying seems to have been this fucking horrible thing that they've had to latch onto, and you've had Pathfinder and all this nonsense, and Dragonflight is just giving you flying. Like, this is just another change that's coming in. It's like, there's no mandatory shit. We're giving you flying straight away, and the new flying system is really fucking good. Like, there's a lot of core things that have been embedded in World of Warcraft for, say, the last 6 expansions that is now just gone in Dragonflight. It's not there anymore. So why is that? Why is that the case? So we got to talk to, like, Maria. Maria is in charge of all the questing in World of Warcraft. Why is the questing the way it is? How do the stories get told? What changes are going to make in the wake of, like, FF14 being so story-driven and people latching onto it? What's her team doing? And Maria is in charge of all of that, and she's fucking old school cool. This is Paul Cubitt. This is the guy who designed Withered Training, Brawlers Guild, the first version of Torghast I fell in love with. That's the guy that made that. This dude is the guy who's like, oh, okay, I'm making Withered Training. Okay, I'll make the Brawlers Guild. You know what I mean? Like, this guy just came up with all that shit. Beta Torghast, right? Yeah, and he was, unfortunately, he was moved to a different project after the first version of Torghast, but he was a Torghast guy. He's not, I don't think he was the Mage Tower, but a lot of your favorite stuff that you might have played as like solo adventures and stuff, that's him. That's the guy that made it. You know, that's kind of dope. They were telling us all sorts of fun things. Like in Dragonflight at one point, they'd set up a quest line that happened in certain conditions to unlock about... It unlocked enough quests around you when you turned it in that you couldn't take them all because it would instantly fill your quest log. I think they said you like turned this quest in and suddenly like 27 quests became available or something. It was something ridiculous. And they're like, oops, that doesn't work. This is a bummer. But so, we played through Dragonflight. There's some really, really good stories in there. And it was actually some of the really surprising things I found out, which won't be really relevant to the main video, so I can talk about them here. It's like all the side stories that you get in the zones, they're just autonomous in coming up with them. Like her team just comes up with stories. They have a general story arc for the main story. But if I think about the dog quest, which we got emotionally invested in Dragonflight, I was just, somebody just came up with that and was like, yeah, we're just going to throw this in. It kind of fits this zone. And I think it's a cool story. Like finding out how much autonomy the questing team had and their drives and ambitions for what's coming is really good, especially with how people treat questing in WoW and they want to make it better. It was really cool. One of the most surprising discoveries that I don't think has ever been talked about, and it was Ian who explained this to me, is something called modular. I need paint. Hold on, I need paint to describe this because once I found this out, a lot of things just started making sense because I almost couldn't believe this is how it's done in WoW. I was shocked, and I don't think it's ever been in the public eye. I think my PC just crashed. Help. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh, here we go. It's catching up. Yay. Nope. Oh no, did I just crash the PC? Let me close all these photos. Oh, I have... Okay, yeah, I've put 2 gigs of photos into my memory. Hold. That's too many. Okay, there we go. Are we back? Okay, we're back. Okay, yeah, I put too much shit in. All right, this is going to be horrible, but you'll get the idea. Okay, so this like when it's in this context, this will make so much more sense. All right, let's do a little timeline. Yeah, we don't want that actually. We want a timeline. Right, we need years. That's what we need. We need years. So let's do some years. Okay, so we got some years. So we're at where are we now? We're at 2022. 2022. Yeah, it's bright, isn't it? That's okay. But you'll get the idea anyway. So 2022. 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018. Okay, so this is how a World of Warcraft expansion is designed. Okay, so we're getting Dragonflight. We'll make Dragonflight red. So Dragonflight started its life in 2020, right? Dragonflight's life is like there. Right now, they're already working on the next expansion as well. Okay, so whatever the next expansion is, I could swear to you, although I did go in a room, they gave us unfettered access. They gave us more access than anything else. Okay, I should make it a random color because I genuinely don't know. I can promise you, I did walk into a room where they were discussing something that I was absolutely not supposed to see, but I'm a smart boy. I kept my eyes down, and they very quickly ran over and turned around the board where they were discussing what it was. It could have been something to do with Dragonflight. It might have been the next expansion. Whatever. But they quickly ran over, and they turned it around, so I couldn't see what was going on. So yeah, GG's to that team. They went, oh shit, it's Preach, and then turned it around really quickly because we had a camera on as well. So yeah, it was a cool moment, but for sure. Right, so Dragonflight started like 2020. So then you've got BFA, right? Or Shadowlands. So Shadowlands started like way back here, right? Shadowlands starts all this time ago, pretty much. That might be a bit too long, so let's say like 2019. And BFA, compared to the release dates, starts like back here. Okay? We'll make BFA blue. So what this means is they are already like putting what's going to be in Dragonflight like very, very early on. Like really early on, like 2 years or so before you'd see the game coming out. Which is really interesting because then they do something called modular design. I know Dan's probably like, huh? Yeah, then they do something called modular design is what it's called inside. One of the things that's always bothered me about WoW is systems that just seem to get dropped. Garrisons, Warfronts, Island Expeditions, Mage Tower, all these things just go away. And we always, class halls would be in here as well. All these things that just go away. Now, I think the general impression of why that happens in terms of the public eye is because they consider them failures for the most part. Like, people hate garrisons, so we're not going to continue making garrisons, right? People didn't like Warfronts, so we're not going to continue working on Warfronts. Torghast, people don't like Torghast, so we're not going to work on Torghast, and so on and so forth, right? That's the thing. So, but that's not even remotely true. They are designed to never exist past that expansion at all. I was like, really? Because that's like millions of dollars of research and development and man hours that goes into creating these things. And they have no intention from the start of ever carrying that thing forward. Now, that sounds mad, right? I didn't even consider it. I was like, that sounds insane. Why would you pour all these resources into these systems or features? These aren't systems, these are features with no intention of carrying forward at all. And it actually makes sense from their perspective. It's because while we're making them, they don't fit the next expansion, right? So while this is BFA, so while we're making islands and Warfronts and things like that, we already know we're going to be making Shadowlands. We know like 2 years before the game comes out. This line should be way longer. So like Shadowlands is actually starting here, and the same with like Dragonflight is like coming back here, etc. So we already know we're going to be making Shadowlands, and Island Expeditions and Warfronts don't fit into what we're going to be doing for Shadowlands. They just don't fit. It's not a complete waste from their side of things, right? It's not a complete waste because they're like their perspective is, we're still going to use the tech. So we were talking about Island Expeditions, where they were selling like Sneaky Pete and this advanced AI they were going to do, all that kind of stuff, roguelike generation in some forms. They're still going to use all that tech from their point of view. It's not a waste, because all the stuff we learn when making those things, we're going to implement into something in the future. Like, for their perspective, the actual technology that's going into it is useful going forward. It's just that the style of content of you going to like islands to collect Azerite or whatever just doesn't fit into Shadowlands. Shadowlands doesn't have Azerite, so why would we continue that going forward? Now, that was... I don't think anybody's ever really found that out. And I was like, but from our perspective as players, it literally looks like it's just failure after failure over and over again. It just looks like failure after failure over and over again, because we keep getting these big features that you announce, so you sell the expansion on, and then they go away. And they're not iterated on. They're not like, okay, so the things you didn't like about Warfronts is they were too easy, you know, but the premise is good. I liked the premise anyway. The premise is good. But they're not... Then it just goes away, so it's like, oh, well, nobody likes them, so we just gave up on them and we're going to start something new. And it comes across to us as like reinventing the wheel. When in reality, that's not the case. It's just part of their modular design philosophy. It's like, this is a BFA feature. We're going to put it in for BFA, but it's not going to be in Shadowlands. It's not going to be in Dragonflight. So then I brought up the obvious question, which is like, but all you're doing is cannibalizing your own content, right? Now you've got 15 years worth of content that just dies all the time. And I can tell you that is going to change in the third era of WoW. That is going to change. That is going to be way less of the case going forward. And it's something they've come to recognize is a big problem. Is that, yeah, we've got like 15 years worth of content that just sits dead, unless you're Dan and you're testing Island Expeditions 2 expansions later. They're going to change that. This was a really exciting revelation. So this was good why we got into this conversation, right? You can see why we did that. Is now learning about this stuff and like its effect on players is really important. So it's like, honestly, if you were to ask me as somebody who's lived here, like it just comes across as you just abandon this shit every single time and you keep trying to find some sort of niche, and they're like, no, it's not our approach at all. It's just that while you're getting all the Dragonflight stuff now, internally, we're already working on the next expansion. And what the features are there. Like, does dragonflying make sense there? Well, probably, yeah, because you learned to fly a fucking dragon. I'm not saying the dragonflying is going to be in the next expansion, because they obviously didn't share that with me, but that's kind of the premise going forward. It's like, well, you learned how to fly a dragon. Why wouldn't you be able to fly a dragon wherever we're going? That doesn't make sense. You know, it's just not logical. It doesn't fit. So there's that's something else that's changing. The next thing that's changing that I could talk about here, I have to be careful because there's a lot of... obviously, I know a lot more than I'm telling you now, but story-wise, I had a really good conversation with Ian and John Height on this. Previously, the stories, which have been kind of hard to get into for many of us, everyone laughs at the jailer, including me. I was like, lol, 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 lol. I did bring up the name Emmett Selk. How could I not? How could I not? I did bring up the name Emmett Selk. And so, you know, we had that. Of course I did, right? I like I say, there's no holding back here. Honesty is too important when you have these moments. But now they're kind of going to look to make a multiple expansion story arc that people can get into and be excited for the next thing. And I was like, thank fucking God. Thank fucking God. Thank God. Instead of it being like self-contained stories where because I was just like, you could just have people just disappear and reappear, like Khadgar's back, but just AFK Shadowlands. Like, it's just like these self-contained stories. They're fine in part, but we're not, you know, it's like, and then there's the Lich King, and then there's you know, there's Deathwing and all that kind of stuff. Garrosh is back and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like. Did you ask about the plans this Warcraft 3? No, I wasn't there to troll. I was very serious, right? I was very serious about this stuff because I care about this stuff. The reason I even gave it a chance is we're no longer like financially tied to World of Warcraft, which is very freeing, and I thank you all for that. So I had the freedom to like ask these questions without worrying about what would happen going forward. So we could all be very honest. Like, you have to be honest in these conversations. And I think that's one of the reasons I would hope that we got in there is, like I said, me and Ian have definitely not seen eye to eye on very specific niche stuff in the game, as is well known. but we both treat each other with respect and fairness and the opportunities coming through. And we've never been that abusive content creator. You know, we're not a shill and we're not rage clicky. We've never been that. We've always been fair. So I think that's one of the reasons we got to do this, is doing that. So it's pretty good. So we get a novel per patch then. It's more about, and in fact, another person who completely spontaneously had this same idea was this wonderful man here. It's Mr. Jesse Cox. One of the things that I love about FF14 is I cannot wait for what happens next. I really can't wait. Like, I've been infuriated with like the Hildebrand cliffhangers, let alone the MSQ. I cannot physically wait to find out what happens next. I'm like frothing at the bit to find out what happens next. But I don't feel that about WoW. I don't feel that at all. Like once I've done the story or whatever, I'm like, let's go. Whatever, we'll find out next. Let's wait for the next cool cutscene and stuff. So the idea that they'll be actually trying to engross us and get us into it again. GG's. Insane statue. I can tell you a funny secret about this statue. You'll see that it actually has a head on it. It's holding a head, and it actually contains a full copy of a video game that the only way to beat the game, which contains Satan, was to delete the game. So instead of doing that, he downloaded the whole game. This is a USB drive, this Diablo head. He downloaded the whole game onto that head, and now the statue contains literal Satan. Pony Island. Yes, it's Pony Island. It contains the entire game of Pony Island so that Satan is contained, and Jesse Cox is guarding the walls of humanity from Satan itself. Jesse Cox is protecting all of us, and we can be thankful that Jesse is protecting us from the wrath of hell and Hell's Gate himself. That game is fucked. Yeah, he was like, you've got to play it. It's so fun. It's so fun. You've got to do that. No, play it, but you hated Blizzard, quitted WoW, and didn't support them anymore. Now, you're back and loving it again. No, I mean, that's the opinion of people who didn't listen to what I said. I'm not shitting all over you, Sotorino, but that is very much the thought process of people who didn't pay any attention whatsoever to what I said. It's a very easy thing to conclude, but it is entirely wrong. And everything you want confirmation on is completely still on the internet from the day it came out. So yeah, I understand why people think that because of word of mouth and shit. But yes, no flame. I just asked. It's not a flame. No, I hear it from a lot of people. It's literally the same thought process that a lot of people who kind of jump to a conclusion about what happened is. Yeah. I stopped covering WoW because I didn't enjoy it anymore. That's it. I stopped covering it, and it was awful. In fact, you can kind of see I don't like seeing that video again because I'm clearly like mentally crushed. I feel much better about it now because I took myself away from it. You know, I took myself away from it, but I also understand that I had reached a point with Shadowlands where logging in made me physically angry. Like, because it was just such wasted potential everywhere I looked. Everything was a frustration. Everything was just totally against everything we'd fought for years and years. I remember, like, I'd fought that fight a lot of times. Azerite armor, fucking Azerite in general, essences. I had been fighting the fight for years, literally years, over and over again, to features and systems that the general player base hated, as we predicted they would. Like, it just made no sense. It made no sense. So I fought that fight for many years, and by the time it got to Shadowlands, I was done. Let alone making content on it. Like, logging in pissed me off. I never even fully quit. I continued to play the raids, which I said in that video. If you watch it. If you watch that video, I completely said I'm still going to raid with my friends, and then I'm probably going to put it down for a bit, and that's exactly what happened. I have never been to Zereth Mortis. Which Ian said was a shame because, like, a lot of stuff you kind of wanted, we started to put in there. And I was like, yeah, well, I was fueled by hatred by that point. I was not hatred for the devs, but just like, my anger towards World of Warcraft at that point, my anger was that you drove me away. I wasn't angry at the devs, but like that game was no longer for me. This game of logging in and having chore after chore after chore is fine if you can no life all the time and just continuously churn and churn without really thinking about it and just grind it out and get it done. But I'm a multi-classer. I've always been a multi-classer. You know, if we go back to Cataclysm, I was playing every class. I couldn't even do that anymore. It was impossible. It was impossible. Yes, we talked to Jesse about FF14 and WoW. I obviously feel much better about it now because we moved on. And another part of that video is also I was essentially maybe having to lay off our team. Right? If it turned out we didn't play World of Warcraft and everybody was like, well, fuck you and goodbye. You're not making daily WoW vids anymore. Like, bye. That was the loss of jobs for people who worked for me. You know, that whole thing was horrible. It was a really bad. That's how angry I was. I was like, you're putting me in this position. You're putting me in this position where I either force myself to jump through these hoops and produce videos in an environment I don't like, or I have to go away because I'm not going to sit in front of this camera and be miserable. Like, fuck that. That's not why I got into this. So, yeah, it was all those things. Yeah, we're still here, bitch. Yeah, in fact, it got bigger than ever. That's the way it goes. It got bigger than ever, which is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But yeah, at the time, it was a whole bad. Yeah, it was an awful time. It was a culmination of everything. It was an absolute culmination of frustration, fatigue, tiredness. Everything came together at that point. And then obviously the lawsuit started coming out and it was just too much. Like, I genuinely felt as a human being that I had an elephant on my back. It's like, in order to maintain what we've built here, like the studio, the two people that are working in there, Beck's working at home, my wife working here. In order to maintain that, I'm gonna have to fucking do Torghast like 12 times a week. And make it entertaining. And make it entertaining for you guys, right? And make it entertaining. I'm going to do Torghast 12 times a week. And what I started to do, which made it even worse, is I was doing it off stream. I was going home and grinding Torghast out 12 times. Like, that's what I was doing. I was going home. It's like, I can't stream this because it's too fucking miserable. So I'm going home to do it. And I talked to Ian about this. Because I was like, at the time, you know, now I'm away and been away for a while. And just enjoying the things I enjoy, like the Race to World First and things like that. Like, it's been a great time. I get why you quit. Fuck that 12 times. Well, it wasn't even just that. It was like, okay, so I had to start relaxing my own scruples about how I like to play World of Warcraft. I like to min-max in World of Warcraft. But I couldn't. It was like, well, how do I reduce this on myself? I have to get like a general legendary that works for like all 3 specs, but it's not the good one. I had to start bending my own enjoyment of the game to reduce the amount of shit I had to do to enjoy it like I had enjoyed it for years. It wasn't like I had I changed what I enjoyed. Is the game changed how I could enjoy it? So there we go. But saying that, I still love World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft has provided I've taken my kids around the world because of World of Warcraft. I built this on the back of World of Warcraft. Obviously, down to a big part of that is my own efforts, but it was built on WoW. So yeah, and a really good conversation I had with Holly, and she was really nice. It's like, we really appreciate you giving us another chance. And I said to her, like, me being sat here is because of World of Warcraft, right? I wouldn't be here if I didn't give a shit and I was a hater. I would not have spent I mean, you can imagine how much it costs us out of our pockets to go and do this trip. I would not have sat here and just thrown this money away on one YouTube video because it's never going to earn itself back. I did it because I fucking want the game to do well. I absolutely want the game to do well. I want that more than anything. I would love to be able to log into WoW and we all have a good time. Like, we're going to be doing MMO December. We're going to be jumping into Guild Wars and Destiny 2 and clearing the raids and stuff. I would love to be able to be like, oh, we're going to play some WoW today and just have a really good time with everybody. But we couldn't do that for a really long time and it sucked. So, yeah, there you go. Like, here. Yeah. Holly and John. Are the people in charge. Play like Ultima Online came up way more than I thought. Thank you so much for the subs, guys. I've got notifications off while we're talking. Losing thousands of subs because of the trip. Yeah, I mean, the untold cost is probably north of $30,000 that this trip cost us. But I think that's a worthwhile investment, not only to get the message out to you guys who are concerned about the lawsuits and the entire environment that's at Blizzard, for the people who left but still, like me, want to love World of Warcraft and have fun in World of Warcraft, and to see what's changed for our own knowledge, right? To find out what's going on. So it was like, I think it's worth it. I think it was worth it for my own peace of mind, let alone anything else. Where's the video due to come out? I can tell you the team is working on it in that room, but it'll be ready when it's ready. It's, you know, it's a tough thing to do. It's basically a documentary, right? It's basically a documentary at this point, which is how we wanted to approach it. We sent them like the no clip video for FF. It's like, we're going for this kind of style because I want this to be podcast. And I think that came across. Like, a huge effort I put into this while we were there is to make it cozy. I cannot tell you how much I hated how wide this table was. I was so angry. I think deciding to actually do this discussion here with John and Holly took us, me and Nups, probably 2 hours of walking around all the buildings into every room because I didn't like the width of the table. I was too disconnected from whoever was going to be sat on the other side. I was like, I want it to be comfier. I want it to feel cozy. But, I mean, it actually worked out super fine. Well, it's one of those extendable Dungeons & Dragons tables. I think the guys... boys? You got to send me some videos so I can show, right? I think they're working on that. So they're going to send us a couple of videos that I can show you, like, the layout of the offices and stuff like that behind the scenes. They just need to double check there's nothing on there you guys aren't allowed to see. Because they did give me... I can't express to you, I think this is important, how welcoming and awesome Blizzard were. They literally let me go anywhere I want. There was only one room on the entire campus I was not, or one corridor I wasn't allowed in, and that was because it was the financial department. It was where they were sorting all the money out. They let me go everywhere. Everywhere. I got absolutely everywhere on the building, and nobody's had that access before. Like, the level of access I had while we were there is unprecedented. It really is. And we made the point. It's like, this is important because if we just do the basic tour that you can see on YouTube, there's no legitimacy to it. So, you know, I was peeking at Mike Ibarra over his frosted glass. I kept peeking up so I'd try and get some time with Mike Ibarra. He was way too busy, unfortunately. While I was there, they actually were having the meeting planning the next 10 years of Warcraft. Did you see the cave of the main cinematic, guys? I saw everything. I went in every single corridor, every single room. Yeah. The only places I didn't go out of choice was the Hearthstone room, because I have no relevance there, and the Overwatch and StarCraft areas. Like, if it's Warcraft related, I did not go in the classic WoW building, because it's quite a ways. It's quite a ways from the main campus. They're in, like, Building 6, the classic WoW team. I would also say, if you are a fan of classic World of Warcraft, if any of you are playing classic and are kind of interested, respond to what Blizzard's going to be asking you. They're going to be sending you out some stuff in the I'm not sure when, sometime in the future they're going to send you some stuff, but I would respond because they're really, like, very open and flexible as to where classic goes from here. So they're going to be asking you about it. So I'm just saying, if you receive stuff, you should respond. You should really respond because yeah. Do you want Kata Classic? Do you want something? I'm not sure. What I can tell you is that the Classic team, I met Brian Birmingham, who's in charge of... We met a lot of people who aren't on camera, who's in charge of WoW Classic. What an absolute superstar. He was just getting out of his car, and Randy was like, oh, you should come and talk to this guy. He went, this is the guy in charge of Classic. I just talked to him in the car park for like 10 minutes, just shooting the shit, and it was pretty awesome. Classic plus, they're very, very flexible and open as to what they can do with this. Yeah, so I'd be really interested. I mean, I love Cataclysm, but I think that's probably one of the things they want to find out is Cataclysm is considered not nice by many people. Although I loved Cataclysm, I had a great time in Cataclysm. But they seem to be very flexible about the direction Classic goes. So I would just say they're going to be one of the biggest themes I got back, and I know it's going to be like you've heard this before, but I can tell you from my impression, it felt very genuine. Is they kind of this third era of Warcraft is kind of going to be taking a lot of player input as to where to go, along with their own choices, but I think they feel internally like ignoring the general sentiment of the player base in terms of what they think is a good idea has been a failure. So that's something they've really changed as a core value inside. That's what they're telling me is like as a core, and Dragonflight's a demonstration of that. It's like, you know, we should be listening more to the direction the players are giving us, because clearly it's not worked. Hope they realize that, but hey, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I cannot promise. Obviously, I cannot promise what's coming. I wouldn't even pretend to do that. Like, I purposely kept myself away from any specifics. I wanted to know what's changed internally. It's not 50 years of failure, right? World of Warcraft has been an absolutely dominant brand and still has a very, very massive player base. It was just a case of the direction's been a downward trend in a lot of areas. So what's the difference? What's happened? They've said that every expansion. Yeah, this isn't an expansion thing, though. That's not... I wasn't talking about Dragonflight. I probably should make that clear. I wasn't there to talk about Dragonflight. I barely brought up Dragonflight like, at all. Like, I used the Dragonflight as a couple of examples. I was there to talk about Warcraft. Right? World of Warcraft. I was there to talk about World of Warcraft. I was not there to talk about Dragonflight. In fact, the reason this trip got cancelled originally, I was supposed to be there like a month or so ago, was because... Blizzard was still figuring out what it is we wanted to do, and they were like, well, maybe we're going to announce the release date of Dragonflight on this date. So they told me when that was coming out. It's like, maybe we could tie that into the video. And I was like, nah, not really, because one, we won't have the video done in time, just based on how it's going to be, and two, then it's kind of like a marketing thing. It comes across as like and they were like, well, we need something out of it. I was like, what you're going to get out of it is an honest impression of what I feel going in. And it's good marketing all around that way. Instead of it being like, and a Dragonflight announcement. Yeah, I don't think that'll be good. Are you able to talk WoW devs about how good the storytelling in FF is? Now they're inspired by it. A lot of them play Final Fantasy. Big shocker. Yeah, a lot of them play Final Fantasy. They're fully aware. They're fully aware. We talked quite a bit about Final Fantasy with various people. Yeah, they play it. Like, of course they do. They're not fucking stupid. They don't live in a Blizzard world. Yeah, they totally play FF. They know exactly what's going on in FF. But like we all agreed, like FF storytelling in WoW wouldn't work at all. Like you can't compare the two directly. They wouldn't fucking work. Yeah, they're gamers. Yes, we talked about so many games, not just like FF and stuff. We talked about tons of games. And I was pointing out yesterday, this is John Haidt. He's the manager of all of Warcraft, right? The franchise manager of all of Warcraft, not just World of Warcraft. This guy's a mega cheese. But his work background is nuts. Absolutely nuts. Red Alert 2, Neverwinter Nights, God of War. Where's the list? The list of stuff this guy has done is criminal. This guy's a professor. He also wrote the book on game management. Literally, he wrote the book. That's where the book that you would study comes from him. He wrote it. His history is absolutely ludicrous. It really is. Yeah, he's absolute Giga Chad. He literally wrote the book. He taught it at in California for years. So he does it. I only wish you could have interviewed would be Chris Metzen. Yeah, well, he's not there anymore. I can tell you wholeheartedly, Activision, like they exist, but they are not close. You know when you read on the forums, it's like, oh well. Since Activision came in, blah, 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 this has changed stuff. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not in any way. Like, Activision is a thing, but it's not a thing. Blizzard. He was saying it for years. Yeah, I can tell you wholeheartedly, like, the closest communication seemingly they had, and I had this confirmed by multiple sources, it's like occasionally they send something to be on the launcher for the Battle.net launcher. Like that was it. That was kind of it. It was like, yeah, it was over there. Like it was interesting talk. It's like, not over there. Yeah, you shill. Yeah, no, nothing at all. They're like not interested. No. Like, sometimes they send us stuff to be on the launcher. Yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, other than that. You have to be able to ground up now to engage FF. It wouldn't appeal to the WoW crowd, right? You couldn't just start shoving. World of Warcraft's strength is its combat, right? Every step of the way. Which is why I wanted to talk to I'll find it. I promise. Oh, look. I don't know what's happened to my face there. That is horrible. I can't see the thumbnails on his pictures, but we went to the beach with Max. Little beachy beach. Little beach. Oh, yeah, these two. So, Halinka and Graham here are the team behind WoW's Combat. And, talk about give a fuck. Talk about give a fuck. Chad squad. Absolute Chad squad. These are two people who could not have given more of a fuck. Like, baller. And it was so good to talk to Brian about not PvP. Because he's always the PvP guy. But he's in charge of WoW's combat. And WoW's strength has been its combat. So you couldn't put in, like, FF style, where you have 40 minutes of cutscenes, kill a bear, and then another hour of cutscenes. Like, that wouldn't work for World of Warcraft. So, yeah, Graham is one to watch. He's the Evoker designer, and his team. Again, I'm talking about, like, their teams, but very cool. Because I don't even know if someone was like, add a class to WoW and then consider how its approach and stuff works in PvE, PvP, outside world, and all that. That's a monumental undertaking, is how that works here. It was pretty awesome how they crowdsourced the Evoker ideas. Because they obviously, like I showed you on that little shitty timeline, like how long ago they were working on Dragonflight, is they literally got all the devs together in a big room and they were like, tell us the first thing you think of when you think about dragons so we can put it into the class. And they just had this fucking bowl of ideas. And then they just kind of tallied up like what was the most regular things, like deep breath, time magic, red magic, blue magic. What does blue magic look like? What does red magic look like? And they just basically were like, oh, okay, well, that's the where we're going. That charge up mechanic is definitely outside of Blizz. That's him. And me and Brian both laughed because we both immediately turned off the charge up mechanic. And he was laughing his head off. He's like, well, it was like, he's him. Yeah, Graham's the one who came up with the hold the button down and release it. I was like, we immediately turned it off. And Brian was the same. He's like, my hands for World of Warcraft do not accommodate charging a spell up. Like, every muscle memory in these fingers does not work for charging spells up. So I immediately turned it off. And he was like, yeah, I thought people would do that. So, you know, we gave him the option to turn it off as well. But yeah, that's Graham. And he said, like, some people like it. Some people really, really like it. Some people don't. You have the choice for both. It's easy. It's a mobile thing. It's more, we wanted to different... Again, I don't think this will be in the main video, but we will release these entire interviews for our Twitch subs and stuff like that. It was more the case of how hard, this is what I wanted to talk to you about these two more than anything, is homogenization. And how much they fucking detest homogenization, like, internally. Like, so... a big point was if we're going to bring a new class in, it can't work on a resource that already works because that just leads to homogenization. We need it to be something different. So they've got the orb system with Evoker and charge up mechanics and things like that. Focus for hunters. Yeah, exactly. Like more combo points and stuff. It's like they do not want homogenization. And do you remember my old school viewers will know this? Do you remember we used to talk about moments of glory with the classes? The moments of glory that like really let your class let loose. That's just a real thing that they have internally. They call them hero moments internally. And they're like, yeah, we want to create hero moments for everybody. I was like, I talked about that years ago. And he's like, I know. And that isn't by design that we do that. By design, we want everybody to have their hero moment. And you can't do that with homogenization. It just doesn't work. Otherwise, we end up in a scenario where everybody could do the same fucking thing. Charging buttons isn't a mobile thing. I mean, I don't care where it comes from. I'm just saying, like, from Graham's POV, it gave people the choice and it gave people different gameplay on the Evoker to enjoy. And he's like, well, what should we make it do? Do we want it to just do a shit more damage? That's boring. Let's make it do different things to make that work. So it was very cool. Everyone gets lay on hands. Yeah. Homogenization. What's the word? Homogenization. Yeah. Everyone gets it all. Yeah, exactly. It was like we were talking about various moments where people could do really crazy things within certain limits, which is, for me, it's like let loose. What does it mean? It means everything's kind of the same. Yeah, homogenization means that everybody kind of works very, very similarly. So FF leans more to homogenization. It still has obviously very differences, but in gameplay terms, it's like you've generally got like AoE, bigger AoE, proc AoE, single target, combo. You know, there's very similar styles that you can pick up. It's not all the way there. I mean, FF still has very distinct differences between the classes, but generally speaking, you can work them that they have similar buttons that achieve similar things. Whereas they're very anti. These guys are actually massive customization fans. Yes, really. Yeah, you can see that in the gameplay. Absolutely, really. But visually different, yes. So these guys are very focused on player choice and customization. Like, their entire team loves customization as much as humanly possible. It's one of their main driving forces with the combat, is as much customization as possible. Mop had the best combat split design. Did you talk about Mop at all? I don't think specifically. Did we talk about Mr. Pandaria? We talked about it as a whole instead of like again, try not to think of it as like an expansion by expansion basis. It was like, what is the core idea going forward? Especially next expansion, because like what we talked about turned out to be an absolute real thing, I guess, was that the new talent trees are going to be a bit of a shocker to a lot of people. So the talent trees for most classes are very similar to what you have in Shadowlands. So that if you're a non-elite player, like you're Mr. Casual, in fact, one of the big things they talked about, which I thought was really interesting, is how much in a good portion of players, combat is a pain in the ass. Like a massive pain in the ass. And it was a bit of an eye-opening experience. If your gameplay in World of Warcraft, and this will apply to any MMO whatsoever, right? This is across FF and everything else. Is if your core gameplay is you are like a mount collector, you like doing your dailies, you're not interested in very high-end gameplay. Like, let's just summarize it that way. You're more of to the collector style. You're not interested in high-end Mythic Plus. You're not interested in savage raiding. You're not interested in really organized, where your combat effectiveness is an issue, right? Let's say it that way. If you're not interested in that, then literally any change they do to the way your class plays is just a fucking pain in the ass. I just want to be able to play and get on with what I want to do. So when there's a new talent update, hotfixes, new stuff coming in, it's actually a hindrance, like a genuine turnoff. It's just annoying to those players. They just want to set up their character and go and do what they want to do and not have to worry or bother with like what's best or anything like that. And it's not because they're being egotistical in group content. They're like, well, I pay my sub, so I'm going to play that way. They just want to get on with what they want to do, and they're not remotely interested in what the next buff or hotfix is, or what got 5% more damage, or that certain talents are dead anymore. And every time that they do something dramatic, like the talent tree update, or a class overhaul, something like that, those players are just pissed off. Like, really pissed off. Like, I don't want to be arsed fucking messing around with the talent tree, which is exactly why they've done the pre-done loadouts for the talent trees. I would like to see the metrics on that, but obviously the pre-patch launched while I was at the campus, so I don't have they don't have the metrics for that, of how many people just chose the predetermined loadout and just got on with their day. Yeah, I would be really curious as how many people just went with the pre-done and just went with it, because they were just saying, like, one of the biggest challenges World of Warcraft has got right now is the spectrum of skill is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. And it's getting wider and wider and wider. And Max had a good point on this. It's like, if it wasn't for, like, the Liquid Echo War, how much that has pushed them both, and guarantee that both teams would be considerably worse players. The skill spectrum is massive, because obviously the low end never changes, but the top end is constantly moving further and further away from the beginning. And there's huge amounts of players. Because one of the questions I was really adamant about is, like, what do players do? Because we see it on the forums all the time, right? Which is, what's the phrase that's used all the time on forums? Vast majority. The vast majority. The vast majority of players do X. And everybody who says that believes they're a reasonable person, right? They believe they're a reasonable person. So I, as a reasonable person, believe that the vast majority does X. right? The vast majority doesn't care about Mythic Plus. The vast majority doesn't care about pet battles. The vast majority doesn't care about X, Y, and Z. The vast majority are super casual players. So when I was talking with Ian, I was like, what does a fucking player in World of Warcraft do? It's kind of how I put it. I was like, so what do players do? I need to know, like, because we don't know, and we try and guess, and we try and figure it out, but obviously they've got the metrics and all this kind of stuff for what these players do. And he was like, bro, everybody does everything. Like, there's a guy who does high-end Mythic Plus and collects every pet battle in the game. There's a guy who's never seen a raid and does all that stuff. There's a guy who's never seen daily content but does raiding and dungeons all day, every day. It's like, it's literal. This idea of the vast majority is nonsensical. It's just the person does different bits of everything all the time, depending on what they're interested in. They just do everything. No anything but PvP. Some guy, but they will do something else, whatever they do. The other no daily guy, right? Exactly. It was like this idea of the vast majority leans one way or the other is just not fucking true. Everybody does a little piece of everything. So it's about making sure that each of these areas is catered to, and it's really hard because the game's so big and the skill spectrum's so big. There are some players who barely ever press buttons. And we talked specifically about alter time. I talked to this with the combat team. Is how do they balance this? So if you don't know what I'm talking about here, like alter time is one of my favorite spells ever. The original alter time in World of Warcraft. And if you could min-max alter time, kata period, WOD maybe, around that area. The snapshotting version. Yes, the snapshotting version of alter time. Now, I remember in an interview is that it turned out, and it really upset me this, is like 2% of mages ever pressed alter time. And so they got rid of it. And because nobody was fucking pressing it. Like, it was something like 2% of mages ever pressed alter time. And from my perspective, I was like, that is madness, because alter time is one of the most fun and useful spells ever. But like, statistically, none of the mages pressed it. They just ignored it. And now they had this thing that was lying around. And so we got into the discussion with these two. It's like, where do you draw that line when there's this very powerful ability? And it came down to, it's an education problem. That's what it is. It's an education problem. Like the players, most players probably looked at alter time as some sort of mana regen ability, and they never run out of mana, so it's kind of stupid. Or it's a movement ability, but they have 2 blinks, so like, when do I ever need it? It comes down to education on that matter, as to how do we make players aware of some of the abilities they've got. So that's a big piece of work they're working on right now, is to not lose fun abilities in the future as much, but try and find better ways of educating players on these abilities and how so they know. Because they could come to guides, but if you're going to Twitch, like, you know, if you're here right now, you're part of the hardcore, whether you like it or not, or you say you're super casual. The fact that you're listening to me talk about this stuff puts you in the hardcore loop. Compared to a lot of players who don't want anything to do with that kind of stuff. Sorry, you're in the hardcore because you know all this stuff. You might not play it, but if you're in a Twitch chat, or you're watching guides on YouTube, or you're going to Icy Veins or Wowhead and reading stuff, you're in the hardcore. You're not in the general populace who may have struggled to do Proving Grounds back in Mr. Pandaria, we talked about Proving Grounds because we got into the topic of education and how to make that better. Because I was forward on the idea that I would have liked to see, and we were going to make an add-on for this. We were going to make an add-on that you could turn on privately, so nobody knows you're doing it, which I think is a big deal. There's a lot of like perceived shame in World of Warcraft that would give you voice tutorials of things that were going on in LFR, in early Mythic Plus, so you could kind of understand what was going on. Because often, and they're trying to fix that with the new Mythic Plus changes, is they're going to cycle them through, because the level of education the regulars have is so much higher than an actual casual player who's jumping into the game, and they have to accommodate everybody. Third party, well, I was okay with third party. Make the game bad for people that care, so it's easy to barely care. That's the wrong approach. It's more a case of, you're creating a delta. As the way they saw it, you're creating a delta between the best players and the average player that's almost unimaginably large. And how are you educating the players on what the problem is? Like, if you've ever looked at what a log or something, right? You're in the ridiculous top end of people researching their class. If you've ever looked at a log and started going through stuff. So it's... education's a big part of it. It's like, one, we talked about, like, old combustion. It's like needing add-ons to make the best use of a DPS cooldown, like old combustion, where you had to track all the ignite procs and stuff, is just ridiculous. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. Like, if you're using add-ons to min-max things, that's one thing, but requiring an add-on to make your DPS cooldown is just dumb. Like, it's just not the way it should be. So it's pretty good. Actually, using actual CPU, that's from Patchwork Sims. Yeah. I've asked somebody to put add-ons to the game after Radio.io and Bartender. No, we didn't talk about UI stuff. No, that wasn't part of my goal while I was there. I did not talk to the UI team. I don't think the UI team was on site. At all. So, yeah, we didn't do that. I see a lot of crits. I know it's good time to combust. I crit a lot of time. One of my biggest drawbacks from WoW are the add-ons. I can't be asked to install 100 add-ons for raiding, and he talks about that. No, and I don't think that's relevant now either with the UI changes. I think if you're a serious raider, you're going to want probably weak auras. You don't need them, but you probably want weak auras and a boss timer, but that's 2 add-ons. I do feel like the add-on thing is exaggerated more than it's actually realistic. But you could argue that weak auras is essentially installing 1,000 add-ons. I mean, it could do so much shit. So you could look at it from that perspective, but most of the time you're probably just copying and pasting a weak aura. And like, here's the weak aura for this boss. Go. In fact, I remember Deep Shades told me he had a 5 add-on cap, which is why his UI looked the way it did. He had a very limited amount of add-ons in there. How do you deal with the criticism of people about you and WoW? I don't care. I mean, I really could not give a fuck. I really don't care. I will do whatever I think's best and be as honest as I can about it. I really not asked about toxic people or anybody shitting all over me. I really couldn't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit. I've never lied to you guys. Everything I've ever said has been out there is still out there. It's not like I've ever taken down anything I've said because it's like, oh, I lied or I'm going to get that twisted in the future. Everything I've ever said is still out there. I really don't give a shit. And as far as I know, I've never gone back on my word. So that's good. And you guys are free to call me out on that shit as well, because it's all up there. What will they do with talents in the future? Oh, yeah, that's where I was going with it. So, okay, so the talents coming into Dragonflight, we went on that roundabout houses about how casual the casual player is. So coming into Dragonflight, the talent system is like pretty simple. If you've played Shadowlands, you could probably, even if you're like a pretty average player, you could pick your way through the new talent trees and kind of know what you're getting at the end of it, right? You should be, if you're a Death Knight, you know what Death Coil is. You know what Bone Shield is. You know what's going on here. You can sort of figure it out yourself, and that's the idea. If you're completely uninterested, you can use the pre-made loadout. But for anybody who's higher end, mid to higher end, you should be able to go through the new Dragonflight talent tree and figure out where you're going. Next expansion, though, and I asked these two, it's like, are we going to get silly with it? And he had a little grin on his face. Mr. Brian had a little grin, and so did Graham. It's like, because they're already working on the next expansion, right? There's the ideas are being put together, some preliminary work's being done, and whatever the next expansion is. We could probably get a little silly with it. Because now you'll be used to it. Now you know what the talent tree is like. Now you will look forward to getting extra talents. Mr. Chris is here. What's up, player?
I have some video on there for you if you want to show it.
You've got some video. Where am I looking, pal?
It's on the C drive.
What am I looking at?
Blizz. We would just suggest playing it with no sound. Just
play it with no sound.
Yeah, we haven't gone through it and checked, so we don't know if there's anything sus.
There's nothing super secret on here, I assume?
We don't think, not visually.
Okay, I'll know if we go anywhere super secret.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just some background B-roll. Hold on, I need to mute this. One play. Go. Go. Oh, cool. So we got some visual action. So I can take you on this little tour. All right, so this is the cafeteria. One pause. There we go. This is the cafeteria where everything is free. I had for breakfast on the Blizz campus chicken and apple sausages, scrambled eggs with peppers, blueberry pancakes with maple syrup. It was really good. And then the next day we had turkey tacos. Yeah, it was well good. So most people, this is not lunchtime, but most times this area is completely filled with people and they're playing music. They play music outside and we'll see if we go there. But you see this tree line here? That's the volleyball court. It's like a volleyball sandpit, which I thought was clearly for show. Nope. On lunchtime, they like 20 of them were out there playing volleyball at lunchtime. It was like the environment they create for the staff is amazing. They're setting up for Halloween over here. They're doing a big Halloween thing. Yeah, like in terms of a work environment, it's pretty good. Oh, we're going in the side entrance. Oh, I see where we're going. Yeah. We're going in the sideways. I think someone's going to let us in here because they didn't give me a key card. Yeah, locked. Lockers. Oh, Big Randy's going to let us in. Oh, it's a look at Trace there, the Tracer statue. Yeah, this is for B-roll. So Tracer's over here. Oh, there's so many dogs. I was so jealous. There's so many dogs. They have a little dog park. Everybody's bringing their dogs in. I was playing with a lot of corgis outside of Mike Ibarra's office. Like, there was a corgi dispenser. Oh, there were dogs everywhere. It was so good. Yeah, everybody's allowed to bring their dog in. I assume if they're not a shedder, I don't think I'd be allowed to take Ben in because he leaves hair everywhere. But yeah, this is the cafeteria. Never seen one of these before. This was a knife, fork, and spoon dispenser machine. So this is pre-lunch, I guess. But yeah, this is all free. All free food all day. It's nice. It's very nice. Although, I don't dig this. This is a very American thing. I think. Maybe not. That is the water dispenser, but they fill it with fruit all day, so it's called fruit water. Not a fan. Not a fan. I like a nice, clean water. You know, I don't need a fruit water. Sometimes it was citrusy. Sometimes, yeah, it was. You either loved it or you weren't a fan. But yeah, I was not a fan. And they have their own Starbucks in-house that makes Blizzard customized coffees that you can only get here. You do have to pay for Starbucks, but they do have their own in-house Starbucks that you can have there. What the fuck, need? Yeah, they totally have an in-house Starbucks. I mean, you do have to pay. Thankfully, I don't drink coffee, so I was never tempted by the Starbucks. But yeah, it was. They have their own in-house Starbucks that does Blizzard-only stuff. They wouldn't let me use the gym. So at the hotel I stayed at, Nups, right, is a cheapskate. So he books all our flights because if I did, I'd probably like be slightly comfier than I was. So he got us this hotel nearby that was a 2-star hotel. Now, I'm not an elitist, but it's been a long time since I stayed in a 2-star hotel. All I asked for was a gym. That's all I asked for, is that we had a gym. Yeah, the Riot Campus. We went past the Riot Campus while we were there. But it turned out it was a hospital hotel next to a hospital, an orthopedic hospital. So because I woke up every day at 4 because of jet lag, I generally woke up at 4 a.m. I made friends with Bessie and Barry. I'm not making up their names. Old Bessie in her shell suit was rocking it, and me and Barry got rocking on. Average age 65. We were kicking ass. Bessie was amazing. Bessie was from Dakota, and she was there to get her hip sorted or something. That's pretty good. This is the... we went in here for a while. This was the on-site vaccination thing and medical center. So that was pretty cool. The artwork in every building... there's some artwork you'll see in here which is just disgusting. You would love to have it. Like, they have everything in here. We have to be... like, some of it is so good. I really loved this picture, but there's some later on that's crazy. Yeah, it's really crazy. I think we have to be careful here because on the right is the financial area where we're not allowed to go. Yeah, I think it's just on the right is... oh, mute. Yeah. I can't remember what we were talking about. Yeah, I should mute that. On the right is the financial area. We weren't allowed in the financial area. But yeah, like every single corridor every single square inch of the place is fully arted up, as is everybody's desk. So you're allowed to do whatever you want at your desk, which is pretty weird. It'll get weird in a second. It'll get pretty weird in a mo when we actually start seeing the offices. So there was only 15% of the staff actually work on campus. Literally 15%. Like the amount of, they have like 6 big buildings here, and there's only, you see the car parks are empty. 15%. So that's from COVID. Obviously, they all had to work from home since COVID. But there's been no reason to come back. And in fact, most of the game companies, I think Riot's kind of the exception. Riot does want people on site. We did speak to somebody who worked at Riot, but most of the tech companies in California are actually not having the staff come back. So most people do 2 days on site, 3 days at home. Some people are all at home. Yeah, I know my mouse on the screen. I'm ready to pause when necessary or skip forward because this is just the car park. Oh, I think this is where the Lilith statue is. Yeah, I think this is Lilith. Yeah, Illadiggle. Sorry, car park, PogChamp. This is, I think Lilith is behind me, behind Mike. This is Nups filming this. Yeah, there's some way better statues later on. These are the old ones. Like this one, I've seen this one at BlizzCon. I've seen most of these at BlizzCon. But Illidan without the lighting doesn't quite work. His face looks a little goofy. Oh yeah, Lilith's here, which is one of the newest ones they've had made. Yeah, the Lilith statue is very, very cool. Yeah, it's awesome. It's very awesome. Yeah, so that's one of the newest ones they've had made. There's a Frostmourne around here. That's the end of that one. There's a Frostmourne around here somewhere that's so heavy. I'm not sure what's in these videos, so I'll be a little careful. A touch careful as we go through here. But it's so heavy that you can't lift it. It's like 140 pounds or something. Where are we? Are we going back through the cafeteria? We are. Yeah, so that's building 1, obviously. The boardroom's up here. The statue, Overwatch. The Overwatch building is to our right, where they're doing Overwatch stuff. That's where we did the Twitter post, yeah. And I shot a lot of B-roll outros and stuff like that of what was going on here. But yeah, there's the statue. I actually didn't know this. So these arrows actually have words on them. These are the core principles of Blizzard. The 8 principles. And apparently at the beginning, like Mike Morhaime and Metzen and a bunch of the other starters, you see there's like phrases on these pillars. They went to some cabin somewhere to decide what the principles of the company were. And one of the big notes they said is they're not solid. You can unscrew and swap them should the core principles change, is the idea behind that. The dark portal's in here. I'm not sure if we go in here. That's where the dark portal is. It's through there. Are we going in? I guess so. This place is a maze. Yeah, it's an absolute maze. Oh, is it just artwork in here? I think the dark portal's in here. Yeah, there it is. Which I think was just for the TBC launch. Like, it needs some repair. Obviously, it's like a polystyrene thing, so there's some scuff marks on it. Yeah, you can see there's some scuffs on it. Oh, Randy was forever. Randy was such a nice dude. Such an awesome dude. Yeah, he was with us from day 1 all the way through. Like, some other people came later to be with us. Not Real Stone. No, not Real Stone. We all look probably uninterested here, but it's purely because we had done this before and we were just shooting it for B-roll, so we just had Mike walking around. We just had Mike walking around with the camera to film the B-roll. Finance, turn it off! Turn it off! Stare. Turn it off. Where are we going now? Oh, there's the clock tower. So they were going to make this into the actual map from Overwatch, was the plan. But considering none of the staff are here anymore, that plan got put on hold. So this was supposed to be... This whole parking garage was supposed to turn into the Overwatch map. Is that woman the tour guide? No, that is Linksy, who is community manager and has been around. She was part of the transition from FF 1.0 to Realm Reborn. She worked for Squeenix. She is extremely good at her job. Extremely good at her job. She knows what's up. Okay. All right. This is my favorite statue. Is the Tyrael statue. I think this is awesome. It's also plugged in. Like a lot of the statues weren't plugged in. But it has lights going through it. You can see the glow that's happening. But behind me is the statue I disliked the most. And you'll see it in a second. But I actually... I did not like... Yeah, old Tyrael. That's my favorite statue that they have. That one's good. But this one, I do not like. Mega Tracer. The Colossal Tracer. It's too big, dude. It's way too big. It's way too big. Wait. It's Giga Tracer. Yeah, Giga Tracer is just fucking too big. It's way not big enough. It's way too big. This building, I think, was the communications building. I think that is a vast tracer. It actually comes in a giant plastic box, like you buy it off a shelf, like PopCap. Oh, it's the Hearthstone room. Yeah, so I didn't go in here. I had no reason to, but this is where Hearthstone... And I can confirm it is Hearthstone. It is not Hearthstone. We checked. It's Hearthstone. So I'm glad I can finally put that to rest. It's Hearthstone. It is not Hearthstone. We can all rest easy. We can all let that go. It's all good. I knew it. Thank you. Yes, it is confirmed Hearthstone. It's not Hearthstone. Nope. Tell Kriparian. I'm going to tell Chris. Oh, this is the library. Okay, this place is dope. This is where we did the Ian and John and Holly interview. But this library is a fully working library where all the staff can come and borrow video games from the past, get books, board games. This here, see this World of Warcraft, the board game, is worth a fortune. Like, this is the precious. This is a full, intact version. I had never heard of it in my entire life. I had never heard of it, but, like, even getting individual pieces for this thing off eBay runs you thousands of dollars. Like, it was very short-lived in its production value. It's untouched. It's unscuffed by time. I know, I didn't even touch it. I think other people did, but I didn't even touch it at all. But this library is awesome. This was very cool. So this is where me and Ian did our sit down. I wanted to do every interview in here, but unfortunately the 3-person stuff was a little awkward. A little awkward to get done. I would like to have done it around here because it was a really cozy atmosphere. But obviously this is where we did John and Holly. Around here. All the way through. But it's so deco. They have a full librarian who takes care of this place. They actually have a librarian. And we tried our best, librarians, to put everything back because we did rearrange it. We did rearrange it to make it to suit our needs. But we're pretty sure we put everything back in the right place. We're pretty sure we did put everything back in the right place. 99% sure. Yeah. You ruined it forever? No, I'm pretty sure it's fine. Honestly, Linksy did most of it. So blame her. Linksy did most of the movement and stuff. Holy Game Shelf. Yeah, you could just come and borrow stuff. And while we were there, people were coming in to get board games to play with their family over the weekend, DVDs and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fully in use. It doesn't get as much use as they'd like because there's so few staff on site at the moment. But yeah, it's not just a prop. Right? There's a lot of stuff that's kind of just props and stuff. This artwork is so cool. All the concept art everywhere. Super, super cool. Making it harder, the librarian. I mean... You know what I mean? No, it's not COVID anymore. It's like they've worked... Because of COVID... Right, so, yeah, they all went away because of COVID. But while COVID was going on, they learnt to work remotely. and it's very effective. You lose something in the creative process. I was talking to Ian about this. You lose a little bit in the creative process, but that can be done by having people on site like twice a week. So some people come in twice a week, some people come in maybe once, some people might not come in for a few weeks. But work from home has worked very effectively. Oh, we're hiding from something you're not allowed to see. Okay, we're fine now. That was a good play by Nups. It was like, oh shit, not allowed to see that. Okay, move the camera to the wall. That's right. I mean, I wouldn't have one of these, but I think this is very cool. This is an actual stained glass. This is the idea. An actual stained glass picture of all the characters. I love Gul'dan, like, chilling on the left side. Like, the Gul'dan thing is pretty fucking good. It is. Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's like a proper stained glass thing. I want it. There's a lot of things here you'll probably see that you would like to have. Where are we? Is this finance? We'll know in a second if we get turned around very quickly. I guess not. I can't remember where this leads us. Somewhere. But yeah, this is what I mean. All right, there's nothing in here you shouldn't be able to look at. Yeah, so this is most of the offices in the building. Just left. This wall is awesome, though. This wall is so freaking good. This entire wall. But yeah, just empty as far as the eye can see. Closed for tours. Well, we were given the access, right? That was the whole point, is that we can get this access. But yeah, just most of the offices are like this. Just, yeah. It was weird. It was eerie. It was really eerie. What does that say? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're allowed in here. No, we're not. This is, yeah, we're not allowed in there. Let's close that. Oh, I can't show you that anyway. Where is everyone? Working from home. Yeah, I'm trying to edit this on the fly of stuff you're okay to see and not. Because they just let us keep the camera on under the trust that we wouldn't, you know, show anything we're not supposed to. That was generally the consensus is we trust you. Yeah, so there's the volleyball place, which absolutely gets used. It was weird. I came around and on lunch break, like a load of people just went and played volleyball. Back to the cafeteria here. This is Mike just getting some B-roll. The statue. Okay. See what this is. Yeah, it was awesome. Like, as a work environment, they've done their best. They've done their best. I could say that nobody we spoke to off camera or whatever was not having a good time, which is great. The sound department we didn't go in. We could have gone in the sound department, but there wasn't much for us to do there. As badass as the sound department is. Okay, so this is Ice Crown. This is what this room's called. Obviously, this is where we set up for our interviews for the 3-person people. I loved this. This room was awesome. We wanted to utilize this background. You can see the entire back is... the entire back is a huge mural of Wrath of the Lich King. See it on the back wall? It's an entire mural of Wrath of the Lich King. That's why this room's called Ice Crown. Yeah, it's so good, but honestly, moving the set all the time was kind of problematic, and we had to go and film stuff in between each interview. So we had to get everybody set up and do all sound checks, and we had like half an hour between each one, so we didn't really have the time. I wanted to have a different background every single time, so it gave some more visual stimulus. Needs blue carpet. Well, every room in the Blizzard campus is named after something from their franchises. So Ironforge is a place, Stormwind is a place, Icecrown is a place, the Tavern is a place. So that is Alex. That's one of the PR dudes who was there to stop things if we said things we weren't allowed, or that they... Luckily that didn't happen, but they had generally two members of legal/PR in the room with us at all times when we were talking to people to make sure that they didn't, like, if we were going down a road which could not be public knowledge, that they were there to say stop. But I can tell you they never had to interfere at all. They were totally fine. But they were there. just to make sure, which is fine. That's their job. Like that's their job, is to make sure that it didn't go off the rails somewhere. I don't know who's filming that because it's not Nups. Yeah, it's totally fair. Yeah, it's absolutely fair to be there. What about the sword? PR objection. I think the only thing PR got involved in is John Haidt was telling us about how many people in total have interacted with Warcraft, and it's about 250 million, something like that. It's some ludicrous number who have played Warcraft at some point in their life, like not just World of Warcraft, but Warcraft. It's about 250 million, and PR was like, we just want to be clear, it's about 250 million. It's not 250 million. It's about 250 million. And you're like, okay. I mean, John, like, sure. It's about there. It's like, 249 or something. What were we looking at? Garrosh, the most infamous orc in Azeroth. Confirm, deny. Confirm, deny. Garrosh is the most infamous. Oh, here's the sword. Yeah. Right. We had an argument. In the video for the Burning Crusade, isn't this hammer pink or very like lilac? That looks like the wrong color to me, but apparently it's the lighting in the video. Right, so yeah, okay. Excellent. All right, I'm correct. Good. As long as I can be smug about it. Yeah, I'm correct. That's a very deep pinky purple. Okay, main lobby. On the topic of the sword, did you talk about making Overworld more alive? Yes, you will not like the answer though. Yes, we did. We entitled that topic Living, Breathing World. Living, breathing world. So I did bring up, like, at the sword, there should probably be a town by now. I brought up Ashara destroying the fleets, but we could still go on our boats and go and do island expeditions and travel between the landmasses. And the sort of disconnect between what's happening in the main story and what's actually happening in the game. And ultimately, it came down to two things. One is obviously resources. There's only a certain amount of stuff they can do. Which is okay, but I mean, I think it's worthwhile. The second one is a lot of players really hate any form of disruption to their gameplay. And as we know, that is absolutely true. Like, any form of disruption to their day-to-day gameplay, people get very, very, very upset. More upset than we realize about stuff like that. So that then leads them down the road of, well, we could phase it, but then we end up with like a lot of phasing, which sometimes disconnects players from other players. Infamously, you know, it might still exist in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. There's a place in Icecrown which phased the Summoning Stone, depending on how much story you had done. In Icecrown, and you literally couldn't summon players to the raid because you'd be all be in different phases. So they were like, we can't go down that road again where that's happening. So it was not the answer I was looking for. Just like, obviously I'm not going to get like the best answers in the world for every question I asked, but I think it's a big concern. I raised the concern. I was like, you should be doing stuff like this. They're like, yeah. I mean, it's a resource limitation as well. Like, when people do bitch and moan, it's like, oh, they made this thing I don't like. That could have been a new raid. Like, there is some truth to that, especially when it comes to in-game development, right? It's usually wrong, whatever they're bitching about. Like, they made a new armor set. It could have been a new raid or whatever. That's nonsense. But at a certain point, if you want us to continuously update the world and make sure that's working, it's like, we do have to pull resources from someone else. We don't have an infinite amount of people. So they were like, it was more about prioritization of resources in that regard than not being aware of it. They're totally aware of it. This is the Big Gore Howl. Oh, yeah, this museum. They changed this museum regularly. You might have seen this on YouTube, but it'd look different. I do like the Big Gore Howl. On here is the tribute to the people who have worked at Blizzard for X amount of years. You get your name on the wall. You get to be part of the name of the people who've done this. You get a piece of armor. You'll see that in a sec. You get like a shield, and then a sword, and then something else. Any names crossed out? I think it's updated. I think if you leave, though, your name comes off the list if you leave the business. So it's only currently serving people. So this is the museum. There's some badass artwork in here. There's some really badass artwork in here. It's currently Diablo Immortal themed. Insert memes here about phones. But they're changing it pretty regularly. Your name's not there anymore, so no, I did look for your name. I did. I wanted to send you a picture of your name. I couldn't find it. And I was like, so if you leave, is your name come off the board? And you're like, yeah. If you've gone. Oh, it's on the right. Turn to the right, Mike. Turn to the right. Turn to the right. Bruh. Okay, this picture doesn't do this justice as to how fucking good this painting is. It's unbelievable in person. It's so good. So good. It is fantastic. It is well good. That is freaking cool. It is. Yeah, they have all the concept art. It's obviously all Diablo, so it's yeah, it's very amazing. It's very amazing. Did like the museum. This is part of the public tour. I think most people can book on a public tour, so you get to come in here. I think you get to do. I think the public tour is this museum and the library. Like everywhere else is locked off. Lovely frames. Yeah, it's badass. They're changing it soon to something else. I think it might be becoming Warcraft themed soon. Either Warcraft or Overwatch. Because, yeah. Like Diablo Immortal's doing its thing now. Oh, here's the stuff. Yeah, so this is the stuff you get for working at Blizzard. Over here. Depending on how many years you've been here. So, like, 2 years you get a Stein. I think 5 years is the shield. 10 years is the mask, the helm, and then 15 years is the sword. Yeah, they give you this for how long you've been working there. I'm trying to see the dates on it. I do not believe you get the glaives, though. 5 is the sword, 10 is the shield. There you go. Veteran rewards? Yeah, exactly. Time-gated gear progression? It's all time-gated. Classic time gated. All right, let's move on. Yeah, I think the guys have had a look through this. As long as we don't have audio on, we should be fine. Okay, we're going up to the executive suites now. So, as far as I know, this has never been seen on here before. Yeah. As far as I know, this is the first time this has been shown. Like, while it's been working. But this is where they make World of Warcraft. This is literally where they make it. So, you're not allowed in here, but we're going in. I need to be a bit careful here. There is stuff happening. Alright, so there's Ironforge. I need to be a little careful here. There's definitely stuff here you're not supposed to see. But hopefully Mike was very I'm hoping Mike was very careful with the camera as to what he looked at. Yeah. Show it? No, I mean, I've signed my NDA, and obviously it does not behoove me to shit on Blizzard and ruin what we've built there. That's not a smart thing. Doesn't do us any favors in the future, should we need to do anything. Oh, this big fucking Yeti thing. It's too big, man. It looks like Nups is being very careful, actually. I think we're probably fine. Yeah, there's some definite, like, slide walking past certain rooms. Oh, I do want the Lich King helmet. I do. Yeah, he's being very careful here. We need it for the office. Whose offices are these? Is this Ian and Morgan's office? A little careful. A little careful. You can see they're currently working on WoW stuff there. Oh yeah, this is Ian and Morgan's office. So they all work in the same... You'd think Ian would have his own office, right? And Morgan. But they work together just in the same room, so they can sort things out faster. I really liked this. I really liked this setup. I would have thought they'd like gone a bit corporate and spread out, but they absolutely haven't.
I think there's some whiteboards coming up that you might not want to show.
Okay, yeah. I think I know which room it's in, so yeah. I'll be careful on this one. We are in the executive suite here. No, well, they with the slides, they don't move around a lot. These two have been together for a while, along with Danielle. Didn't meet Danielle. Careful. Morgan's just to the right of us, right? He was working on something. I noticed you stopped the camera there, but I think Morgan was in the corner working on something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Enhance. I'm being a little picky here. This is... Okay, there's a whiteboard there. Let's just... Hold on. Hold. Okay, good here. Now, this is the low res footage. I think the boys have made it low res on purpose, which is very clever. Okay, we definitely can't go in that room. Okay, good. Definitely can't go in there. Yeah, definitely can't show you what was in there. Definitely can't. I believe... Is this the room, Nups? We can't show what's in that room, right? That's where they were all having the meeting about the upcoming stuff?
It's on the right. That's going to be a bit dangerous, I think.
Puppet!
Yeah, right is danger.
Danger. Okay, let's just close this video. I'm not risking it. I'm not risking it. Let's just close that. I'm not risking it. There's no way. Sorry. I'm literally legally obligated not to show you that stuff. I mean, at least it shows that they just let us in and trusted us. Right? They just let us fucking go ham with a camera. They trusted us not to reveal anything. Yeah, like they were legit. They were like, go for it. Like, no worries. Secret memes. I'm not sure. Oh, we're okay. We're still on the exec level. I just saw the Yeti. All right. Yeah, we're still there. Okay, so the way this execs is on the... When you come up, you know, from the front of the building where the statue is. So we're on the top floor. The left-hand side is like the development team. So that's where Ian, Morgan, and co. And they're deciding like the future of Warcraft and making it is over on the left side. On the right-hand side is the Mega Cheeses, which is where we're going now. So like the top execs are where we're heading now-ish. Interestingly enough, like for Linksy and Alex, this was their first time on the Blizz campus, although they've worked there for a while. I say there's been no real reason for them to come in. Oh yeah, this is where there's a cinema here. I'm not sure if this video is going to show it. Mega Cheese, yeah, the big decision makers are up here. I love this Lei Shen picture, it's so good. There's a lot of artwork here I would have definitely stolen for the office. Oh, hold on. Whiteboard, close. Close the whiteboard. Yeah, there's a cinema on the top floor there, where there's pretty much a mini cinema room on every single floor, where they do all the presentations and stuff. Yeah, this is my job at Blizzard. I got a job at Blizzard. This is me. This is me just fucking chilling. It's an empty whiteboard. We're good. Fear the whiteboards. The whiteboards are bad. Yeah, so the Talent Stacks expansion. Yeah, that's where I was doing it. I was working on it. Don't worry, guys. I've made the new talent where all the mages join together and turn into a giant flying phoenix. It's good. Where are we going here? I think we're still on the exec floor. Okay. Looks fine. Looks fine. Oh, this is nice. This is all the letters that that fans of World of Warcraft send in. It's really nice. They have them all pinned on the board. The little clip there. Mike's being much more careful here. This is great. Frost only, no fire. I haven't come up with the frost one yet. Perhaps we all turn into a giant ice elemental. Oh, it's RNG who gets to control it. You need 5 mages to set it off. Yeah, this is one of the dev rooms again, just empty. The amount of empty offices felt a little daunting, but you might recognize some of the people wandering around here if you're familiar with the WoW dev team. If you have some notice. Yeah, well, okay, we're continuing on from where we were. This is all nice. All good shit. Ended a mega portal. Yeah, so many expensive chairs. Well, it's weird. Can't remember what they were working on. Nobody could tell me what the Guitar Hero room was for and why it's on the exec floor. I mean, I assume they just have a room dedicated to rocking out with Guitar Hero. I can only assume that's what it is. Okay, good. Good diversion, Mike. Yeah, like, I think this is Holly, John, and Mike Ibarra's offices are just up here. Where we were. New class testing the Bard. Well, oh, there he is! Corgi Hypers! Okay, this is like a 5-minute stop off to play with this Corgi. Just the best. I would never get any work done with Wigglebutt walking around. His nickname is Wigglebutt, as you can see why. Wigglebutt, 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 Wigglebutt. Yeah, office dogs. Yeah, that is a wiggly butt. Yeah, Wigglebutt is forever. Yeah, this is great. Like, this, how could you get any work done? It's pretty adorable. It's the best. Can you bring Atlas to the office? No. Unfortunately, he just moved into this office from the big area over here. There's like a wide open area. So Wigglebutt knows where all the treats are in this office. And his owner was struggling to get Wigglebutt to stay in the new office. Because he kept going looking for the treats. Everywhere he went. Maximum Wigglebutt engagement. It's hard to focus with puppers around, especially if you're a dog lover like me. If you're a doggy lover. He's trained all right. Yeah, like, he kept wandering off to go find more treats. Wigglebutt NPC. Wigglebutt was... we were there for a good 10 minutes. That's why Mike's cut the video. I was just fucking about with the dog. Like, I'm not going to mess with a dog, right? If you're going to give me a puppy to play with, I'm going to be there all day. I mean, ask Max. We went to Max's house. Max has 4 dogs. I was just pissing about with Max's dogs all the time. That was my entire operation. That's a short one. It looks like we have been somewhat edited here. Okay. The guys have been clever. Yeah, we were at Max's house. I was just playing with Max's dogs for ages. He has 2 horses. They're big dogs. They are big Great Danes. Yeah. In fact, I played with the dogs so much, my hands were, like, dirty. Just some shots of upstairs in the theatre. Yeah, the guys have been very clever with what videos they give me here. They've skimmed through them, so I'm not revealing anything I shouldn't, which is good. God bless my team, protecting me from myself. I appreciate their work. But obviously, there's a lot more than this that you'll see in the final version. Did you ask for their favorite classes to play with? No, nothing like that. No, it was really about like the internal ideas and the going forward with the game. I mean, we talked about some of that stuff. My description of what I wanted to do was there in terms of time constraints, because 2 days before we went, they sent us a message saying they were cutting all our interviews in half. And that's not going to happen. Like I say, there was a weird... there was definitely a period of time where it felt as though nerves were rising about us being there. Especially a couple of days when it was actually happening, a couple of days, like more people from PR and stuff started getting involved. Thankfully, as you can see, that turned out to not be the case. But at one point, we were supposed to have like an hour with everybody, minimum. And then just before we came out, it got cut to half an hour. So we instantly got on the phone and were like, what the hell's going on, kind of thing. Like, and this is what I said to her. It's like, if, for example, depending on where the conversation leads us, Ian wants to tell me about a local restaurant or a time they had there or some sort of anecdote or something like that, I want that to be okay. And I don't want to have in the back of my mind is like, we need to kind of press on. I want the conversation to flow as naturally and honestly as possible. And if you start putting like strict time restrictions on, that ain't gonna work. Like it's descend into basically what we could do at on Twitch, right? It's gonna turn into that, and that's not what we're doing. So, thankfully, once we got there and they realized that we were not douchebags, thumbs up to not being a douchebag, it was totally fine. It's totally fine, and we got as much time as we wanted, pretty much. So, it worked out well. All right, little outdoor shot. Good, good. There's one here of an elevator. Let's see what that is. Without saying what it was, of course, did you see anything that's coming that just blew your mind? No, I can honestly say, hand on heart, and swear on my children's life, I have no knowledge of anything that's coming up. I intentionally did not look. I cannot get in trouble for leaking something if I don't know what it is. So if I was going into a room where that information was, I simply did not look at anything. I spoke to people. I did not look at whiteboards. I didn't do anything. So that was my game plan. I can't get in trouble if I don't know the answer. So that was easy. It was very, very simple to do that. I didn't close my eyes. I just didn't look at stuff. I'm disciplined enough to not like need to get that information. I don't need it. Human detected. Yeah. Off limits. Don't go in. Don't go in. I'm going in. You're not allowed in here. Okay, we do need to be a bit careful again here. Oh, they were watching Nagura on the stream. Like, this is outrageous. Of all the people that are watching Caro on the executive level, I can attest that this was in reality. This is on the top floor of Blizzard. They had Caro on the screen, and there it is. There it is. That's all there. That's why I said film it. I said film it. She'll love this. She'll love this. But oh. All right, this is kind of a cock tease, but the absolute most impressive visual room in all of Blizzard is what they call the control center. The control center. And it looks like every space shuttle takeoff room you've ever seen. It's well good. It's so cool. Absolutely, we're not allowed to film it. And I can't show you. Yeah, we're not allowed to film it. But it's badass. But one thing they did point out, and it makes total logical sense. So this is where they fix when they're getting DDoSed and all that kind of stuff. So it's a huge thing. But one of the things they have a wall dedicated to is all the streamers. Because that is their absolute fastest way of getting information as to what's happening to the general public. Is they have a whole thing with all the streamers on it. So that they can get that information rapidly. It was really cool. It was like, well, obviously. It's obviously. They just have all the streamers up so they can figure it out. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, don't show that. There's a spy in the base. Yeah, it was cool. It wasn't on. I didn't see the streamers. I saw the wall where the streamers would be because there was nothing particularly bad going on. While we were there. Pre-patch came out, but that was delayed. It was interesting to be there when they had delays, because pre-patch was delayed in the US, but it wasn't because of some mega emergency. They explained to me the difference between the PTR and the live version of the game, and the conflict that comes up there. So they discovered that in the morning and had to delay it. Which kind of sucked for the team that was giving us the tour, because they're the ones who push out the patch notes and all the communications to the public. So they ended up working really late that night, because even after spending all day with us, because I don't think the patch went live till like 6 p.m. or something. I'm not sure whose office this is. Yeah, but you can see like, help. You know what I mean? I did not cause the delay. I was not involved in the delay. Sorry to say, I was not involved in the delay. It was not my fault. I'm just being wary here of what we see. Should be fine. These are the empty offices, so there's nothing in there. But that is not an empty office. Okay. Yeah, so this is the stuff that's being built for the later ends of Dragonflight and for maybe the next expansion. Another streamer on the wall. We did talk about the nerfing AMZ thing, and like Ian was laughing at me. Okay, it's Pikachu. Okay, it's fine. It's the UI team drawing Pikachus. That's fine. That's fine. I'm on it, chat. Enhancing. We're safe. Yeah. I do know the room coming up is... I don't want to watch this video. This is risky. Okay. This is risky. The next couple of rooms are very risky. Very, very risky. Pussy, I mean, like, you know, I don't need a lawyer up my ass. I don't need that. The boardroom, obviously we shot a little clip for you guys in the boardroom. It's where all the big decisions are made. There's Mike Ibarra, Mike Ibarra's office. Oh, he was out at the time. There's Big Mike's. Mr. CEO. Should be fine here. Yeah. What's beyond here? Mike's being careful with the camera. I think this is John and Holly's office around here. All empty. All empty. No funsies. Nobody there. Who's this? Yeah, that's John's office at the back. Oh, Hollis is round the corner from here. Yeah. The Arthur statue is so cool. Oh, there's John's fish tank. Yeah, Mike's. Yeah, that's Mike turning it away. That's smart. Yeah, that's Mike turning the camera away from what's in there. Oh, he's checking if it's all clear. Okay. John's office with his fish tank. That's where we came in the day before, and he was just playing Diablo 4. Don't blame him. He was just chilling and playing Diablo 4. Absolutely maxing. Like, before any of the announcements were made, like, the beta was available, whatever, he was just chilling. It's Holly's. Holly's is really nice. Got all the sparkly lights and shit in it. So, that was the day. Oh, that's right. This was the day that they were kind of planning out the next 10 years of World of Warcraft. So, they were in meetings all day with Mike Ibarra about what was going to be happening. So, they're obviously on lunch. Yeah, because that's why we came up here then, because they were all on lunch. Yep. Yep, that's right there. Yeah. Well, that's all the videos I can show you. That's it. That's all you're going to see. We have a lot more, obviously, but that's all I'm showing you for today. That's all it. Show more? You will. In the main video, you'll see more, but it needs to be curated. We need to be very careful. Like I say, they gave us trust, so we will reciprocate in kind on that regard. Show what this is. Checking. Yeah, a little preview of, like, but at least you kind of understand the level of access they gave us. Like, we couldn't have asked for more. I was definitely expecting. My impression totally changed. Leading into it, like, even on the day we were going for the first day, because we were there for 3 full days on the campus, I just had this feeling in the back of my throat, the back of my mind, is like, we're gonna get dicked over here. They're getting nervous. They're getting cold feet. Like, that was the impression we got from the communications we had. It's like, they're getting cold feet. I kind of feel like we're going to be heavily watched and monitored, but it was not like that at all. They pretty much let us do whatever the hell we wanted, and I think that was the best thing for them to do. If I would have, because I paid for it, I paid for the trip. If I would have come back and said to you, it's like, yeah, we went all the way there and it was closed off and it was nothing like what we thought it was going to be like, and they were very defensive, then that wouldn't have been good. So I think the decision they made pretty early on was, if we're going to do this, we need to do it right. So yeah, it came my way. What did you take away from the entire trip? Generally, without like coming even remotely trying to come off as Mr. Shill, which if you think I'm a shill, then fuck, you're screwed anyway. What I could tell after talking with as many people as I did is that they have done their absolute best to make it the safest environment they can be in, to let their staff work and to work as they want to work. It was really cool. We got a lovely contrast with what happened with the lawsuits and stuff while it was happening. A big shout out to Josh for that. Because, as you know, this is Josh Law. We needed that contrast, because if we'd just done Blizzard, that would have been very one-sided. So Josh agreed to talk to us and about what was happening at the time, about the things he saw, he did, while things were, when it all started to hit the fan, the changes put in there. Josh has left Blizzard, but not because of the lawsuits and things. He moved on to just a much better job. He works for TikTok now. He has a whole team of people underneath him. TikTok gaming is a thing they're trying to work on, and his experience in that field was just perfect. So he has a really bright future ahead of him with the TikTok gaming thing. So he's doing really well. Yeah, he streams again. Like, he's doing all that kind of stuff. It was a really good move for him. Yeah, he has a team of like 7 people under him now. They're looking into how TikTok gaming is getting bigger by the day, bigger and bigger. It's just a different presentation. Like, you can live stream on TikTok. I mean, he was just telling me, it's a different presentation. You can't do like an 8-hour stream on TikTok. It's just a bad idea, because the engagement metrics on TikTok work very differently to Twitch, where you can sit and do some you can have periods on Twitch where, you're gaming for like 5 or 10 minutes. You can't do that on TikTok. You need your engagement, the way the algorithm works, needs to be very different. But yeah, people are finding a lot of success over there. So he's heading up that sort of field. So he's doing very well for himself. So we needed that contrast. You can see it was kind of a serious talk. You can tell by my face. He was taking us through it all, so you'll get all that. How do you feel about the company Blizzard now? I would say the thing that I found the most encouraging from my perspective on Blizzard was talking to these two, as particularly Holly. Because a lot of the old boys club that definitely led to that had some involvement in the lawsuits and things are all gone now. They're out. They're gone. And obviously the policies are there now. It's like, there's none of this reporting. I'll have a word with them. We'll see if we can sort it out kind of thing. You're just fucking gone. What are they in charge of? Okay, so this is John Haidt. He's in charge of all of Warcraft, not just World of Warcraft. He's in charge of Warcraft and every element of it. Holly is now in charge of Classic and World of Warcraft. She was in charge of Classic, did very, very well with Classic. She's now in charge of Classic and World of Warcraft, the retail version. Both of these two are very, very, very fucking wonderful people. Like, from my impression of getting to spend time with them, very wonderful people. And these are the people who are going to drive World of Warcraft forward. And after talking with these two for a good hour, super encouraged about the direction Warcraft's going in. What they'll actually produce in game is a different matter, but where these two, particularly Holly, was super encouraging. Yeah, Ian is the game director, right? So, in general terms, John's job is to make sure the game comes out when it's supposed to come out, on the budget it comes out as, and like he said, his primary goal is to make sure when Ian and the team go to John and Holly that they have the resources they need. So when they brought on that entire other company of developers, right? That's John. They need more developers to work on this. It has to happen. We need to get them in. That's John. They go to John and they're like, look, we need this resource. If you want this game out on time and these are the features we want to create. This is what we think the development's going to look like. This is the direction we're going in. Like I said, this third era of World of Warcraft, John is the one that goes and sorts that out. Holly is the one who allocates like all the resources where they need to be and make sure everybody has everything they need all the time to make sure they could do it. What is Mike Ibarra's work then? He's the CEO. Like he's in charge of making sure that the company fucking is in existence, you know, like at the end of the day. He's the CEO of the whole thing. So he's making the bigger decisions and the deals for going forward. Yeah. that's Mike Ibarra's job, is to make sure everybody has a job. You know what I mean? Yeah, like he's there to make sure they have a job in the future. Yeah, Mike. I wish I could have got time with Mike Ibarra. I did. We did request it. He was really busy, but so I just started tweeting at him. Like, I was there. Like, if you're not going to risk it for the biscuit, what's the point? So I just started tweeting at him, and I walked past his office as I possibly could to try and get his attention. Yeah, I did like Mike Modcheck. What are you going to say? What's the worst that can happen is get lost, right? Did I meet Bobby Kotick? No, he's not there. What the fuck? Activision, like I said, it's very apparent. Activision is not involved. Not involved. Like I said, the closest thing they have with Activision is occasionally they get shit to put on the Battle.net launcher. Like, that's the interaction of Activision. There's nothing going on with Activision. Yeah, so... Yeah, we talked about the acquisition. We talked about all that. How about Steve Danusa? He was in one of the rooms. I think. I didn't go in that room. That's one of the rooms where I was not... It would be better if I was not in that room to look at anything that they were doing. It was better that I said hi. They said hi to me. I stood to the side of the room. People came out and said hello. That's how I worked it. Literally, that's how I worked it. If there was a room where something was going on, which I don't need to know about, is I walked past the room and people came and said hi and then went back in the room. It was the safest way of doing it without putting myself in a position where I know something that I might accidentally blurt out on a stream innocuously in 6 months' time, and nobody's supposed to know about it for 2 years, right? Sounds awkward. It wasn't awkward at all. Everyone's been respectful of each other. They can't share that information with me, and I don't want to know that information. But we all want to say hi and hello to each other. It's not awkward at all. It's just like common sense to approach it that way. So you have been spoiled about the future of the game? No, like I could not be clearer. I intentionally did not look at anything which may have been something that I didn't need to know. Like, obviously I saw some stuff, but if I was in a room where they were currently working on something, and like I said, most of the staff weren't on site anyway, is I intentionally just didn't look. I spoke to people. That's what I cared about. Like, I wasn't looking at anything I didn't need to know. It's just safer that way. If I don't know the answer, then I can't spoil it. It's as simple as that. Easy. Exactly. I'm not there to take advantage. And personally, and this is the bit I made most important, I don't give a fuck what the next WoW expansion is. I don't care. I'm not into the lore of Warcraft. I would like to be, but I'm not. I don't give a shit if it's fucking Lich King 2, if it's Void Gods, or whatever. I really don't care. I'm always more gameplay orientated, right? That's the fact. So I really don't care what it is. So I'm not going to be chomping at the bit to say whatever it is. So it's just better this way. I don't want to know and I don't need to know. So there you go. Undermine, let's go. There you go. Void God's confirmed. Exactly. Like, I don't want to sit here like, shit. Did I say something? No. So Void Corgis, yeah, confirmed. That's what I didn't want to be in that scenario, so I'm not going to put myself in that scenario. It's really easy to do that. What if everything's been planned since Warcraft 1? Safe that way. Can't talk for Nups though. Maybe Nups knows something. I don't know. Maybe Nups knows something. But yeah, that's That's a different situation. Did you watch anything in their theater? Which one? They have so many theaters. What's this? Displays? New... Oh, they're heavy. Did you see anything, Mike, you weren't supposed to see?
Not really.
Good. Good,
No.
lad. Good, lad. Well, we do have to say thank you to Display, who are sponsoring the video when it eventually comes out. So... Oh, it's Warcraft stuff. Ooh. It's Alex Straza. All right, Alex. All right. Oh. Oh, the light's too shiny. Let me take this stuff off. So, we have got that display code, guys. Dragon Mummy. Let me try and get it so it's not super shiny. Oh, I've got no nails. Yo, that's badass, actually. That is actually very nice. Is that a Nixia in the background? Or is it her dragon form? Any helpers? Looks like Oni to me. Is that Oni? Or is it just her? It's just her dragon form? You said a purple? It looks a bit like Oni. A little bit? That's legit. How many displays are in here? Oh, okay. All right. Big Mummy. That is awesome. That is very cool. All new armor set. There it is. Yeah, there it is. So you got a big discount with our code, guys. Would appreciate any love you show Display after they are going to be helping us out with the costs. Ooh! Oh, this one's... I need to take the plastic off this one. This one's got a lot going on. These are all official World of Warcraft ones, by the way. These aren't fan-made or anything. War of the Sands! I like the mage, actually. There's a big old boy. There's a big old boy. Yeah, that one's really good. I love that. The mage at the bottom gives that a really nice contrast, actually. I think there's another one. Oh my god, I've got so many displays. Have I got two more in here? What the hell? Oh! Yes! Dope. There's the boy! Let's take the plastic off. There's our boy. There he is. Oh. Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah, that one is pretty fucking dope, dude. That is pretty fucking dope. That's pretty good. Little does he know. Well, we've got one more. The hell? I suspected what this was, but I was wrong slightly. I was slightly wrong. Slightly wrong. He's a little raggy. He's just a little raggy. He's just a little raggy. There he is. He's little raggy. Little raggy. Oh, he's furious. He's a furious little lad. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh. Help! Help us! Help us! He's just a little waggy. There you go. It's little Wagneros. That's awesome. You just got that one? Yeah, that's a badass one. Is there anything else I've missed out that you guys might want to know about that I can actually talk about? Where can we expect the interviews and stuff? The team is working on it in the editing bay right now. They're in the office working on it. I'll work on it this afternoon as well with them. I'll have to do a lot of voiceover stuff. But as soon as it's ready, we'll put it out. Interview with Jesse. Yeah, so me and Jesse just shot the shit about WoW and Final Fantasy. unsurprisingly. So I don't think there's anything in the Jesse interview that's relevant to the topic we did at Blizzard. So that'll probably just go on YouTube as just me and Jesse talking. Just an interview about, because we just talked about WoW and Final Fantasy, me and Jesse. That was really the topic of that conversation, rather than some in-depth. It wasn't some in-depth thing. It was much more casual and fun. Didn't explain Holly's role. Holly is in charge of the resource spread amongst the team. Like, where are these resources going that they have access to? Where are we going to focus our efforts? Because some things don't get, there's different effort that goes into different things, right? So she's in charge of making sure that the right features that are important and are going to make the game successful get the appropriate amount of time and resources allocated to them. And the things that probably aren't going to be as important get a little less time and things like that. I hope you got on the trip where you wanted to go. I got more. I really did. I got more. I got way more out of it than I thought we were going to get. I had high hopes for what we were going to get out of it, and I definitely got more than that. So, yes. Very happy. I would say we'd actually got considerably more than I thought we were going to get. I expected, we'll take you into the side room and you can get a little bit of footage there, but you can't do anything more than that. I expected them to be very, very strict on the times. Like, as soon as the time was up, it's like, that's it, that's all you're getting. They weren't like that at all. He talks about limitation of the engine, a possible engine swap in the future. No, we did talk about that specific subject. We did talk about the age of the game and spaghetti code and things like that. Any mentions of BlizzCon? BlizzCon was brought up a lot because it was the last time that I got to see many of the people that I visited with while I was in California. I have a lot of American friends, is the reality of it, and I haven't seen them since then. They want to do BlizzCon again, but when that is exactly, I don't know. They did say, I think it was Ian that mentioned, it's like they have to book that venue like almost a year in advance. So maybe not next year, maybe the year after, something like that. Were you expecting things like the FF14 documentary? Yeah, that's kind of what we got out of it. Yeah, exactly. Anything on Microsoft? No. Did you ever get to meet TB? I didn't. No, I spoke to John a couple of times, but I never got to meet him IRL. No, but a lot of people did. Like, TB's name got brought up a lot, actually. Like, way more than I would have thought so, but very fondly remembered amongst everybody there. Did you hear anything about a series or another WoW movie? I brought that up, like, with what's going on with Arcane and Resident Evil and The Witcher, all those kind of things, about a WoW series. Are they going to think about anything like that? And I didn't get an answer. So a lot of, like, would be cool. So I don't know whether that's a no, whether that's a maybe. I didn't get an answer, is what I'd say. No answer means yes. Well, you can live in that world, but that's not the answer I got. That's not the answer I got. I did bring it up, though. It's like, it's becoming much more common now in the gaming world to make some sort of TV show and try and get into people that way. But yeah, I didn't get an answer. Oh, I didn't tell Max we were supposed to be pretending to be asleep here, so he had a big smiley face. I was like, let's just look like we're chilling on these chairs, but he had a big smiley face. There's Crocs. Hey, the man was chilling in his Crocs. He's got a cool little Croc collection. He's chilling in that heat. Like the heat over there. God, I miss it. I do miss the heat already. I really do. I do miss the heat. It was, the weather is absolutely lovely. I miss it. You gotta get caught up on the rest and whatnot. I gotten caught up on the rest. I haven't logged into WoW yet. I will have to. We'll probably do some WoW the next day or so because we're doing a things with the Yogscast. I think on Wednesday. I think on Wednesday we're doing something with the Yogscast for Dragonflight. In time, your no-clip type doc will be done. However, you will ever release the podcast interviews themselves. Yes. So As most of you know, if you're a Twitch subscriber, you have premium access to our website included in that, as do our web supporters. So the full, I think the full unedited, the full versions of the interviews that we're allowed to share publicly, because we did talk about some stuff that we had to for context that you guys can't know about, will go up available for everybody there again. So it's, if you're a Twitch sub or anything like that, you can get in. So I think we'll probably do it that way. The Jesse Cox one will probably just go up on YouTube because it's nothing relevant to this, but there's like 9 hours of interviews. I can't even document YouTube with that much stuff. Yeah, I can't even I can't put that much stuff on YouTube. There's about 9 hours worth of interviews that are relevant to this subject. So yeah, we'll stick it up on the website for him. So yeah, it's good. Better stop dodging subs. Yeah, last time I tried to link the website with Twitch, it wasn't working. That's a Nups problem. Shout at Nups. He'll fix it. Just shout at Nups. We'll get it there. But there's other ways of getting it as well. It's purely to like try and somewhat levitate the cost of this trip. It was a massive expedition to get over there. It was a huge thing, but it's well worth it. Like, I cannot tell you how happy I was with how Bliss seems to be. And even after getting the counter point of view of how it was then to how it was now and everything that's been heard, like, they've seemed to have done a good job. That's what I can tell you. It's like they seem to have done a really good job. It was hard to find fault in the way things are running over there now and the future. I can't promise, like, I needed to be clear on this. I can't promise whether the game's going to be amazing. Can't do that, right? Can't do that. Won't do that. But I can tell you the intention and leadership that's in charge right now is very positive, and it was good to see. It was really, really good to see. Are you going to do a class spec reviews for Dragonfly? Absolutely fucking not. No. Never again. No way. Nope. There's just people way better and way more engaged with doing that stuff than me these days. Yeah, nah, that was old stuff. I enjoyed it at the time. I do not fancy. I don't want to care that much about a priest talent tree. Public can do it for me. That's awesome. That's all good. I don't want to care that much about that stuff anymore. I really don't. Like going that immersed, I don't know. It's what contributed to my anger towards the game is I was just so... When you start seeing the game like The Matrix, instead of for any fun they're trying to present, that's a dangerous place to be, man. You don't even see a game anymore. You just see fucking interactions and... Yeah, it's horrible. Will you cast the next Race to World first? Probably not. We'll see. It lands on my birthday and Christmas week, and I do have a family, which is a bit of a bummer. I think they're trying to squeeze a day or something. It's literally on my birthday and Christmas week. Like, it's a fucking nightmare. Hey, Annie, how's it going? We were talking about your achievements, Annie, but you weren't on the stream. Unlucky, Annie! Boo! You probably weren't live, to be honest. You probably weren't live. But, yeah. It was nice to see all the streamers up on the walls, on the exec suite as well. Were you talking shit? Always. Always. Without any hesitation whatsoever. I was talking mad shit. I was like, if Annie ever even thinks of coming close to this campus, lock the gates. All she'll do is grab all your merch and go mad with it. But yeah, it was really nice. Especially a lot of up-and-coming streamers as well. Never forget, Annie. Just delay your birthday. Just move your birthday. Yeah, it's a real shame. But we'll see. My wife not too happy about the fact that I didn't see her for 2 weeks. Because I did miss out my wife and kids for 2 weeks for this trip. And then also, like, working my birthday and Christmas. It's my fat cat. There you go. Grab some merch for us too. I mean, this is pretty awesome. This is really awesome. Like, I'm really happy with this. Like, getting all these signatures on there is pretty awesome. This was good. So those are all the top level people involved at Warcraft. So, as they kept pointing out to me, it's the only one in the world like this that exists. Woohoo! So I'm pretty happy with that. I never even intended to get it. They went and sorted this out for me. Except for Halinka. He's the only one who's missing. Slacker! Slacker! Ruining the whole dream. Slacker. Put that shit in a safe. Yeah, probably. It's pretty good. Were you the initiator or Blizzard for the trip? I was. I was, yes. Blizzard did not ask me to go. I sent them the message. Our message was basically, what are they getting out of it, I guess, would be the general question, right? Why would Blizzard let me in? What are they getting out of it? Because we weren't announcing anything. They said the trip got cancelled when it was going to be sort of like the Dragonflight announcement thing. I didn't want to do that. My main selling point to them was to humanize them. I was like, you put out this content. I was pretty straight up about it. It's like, you put out this content like the Dragonflight announcement, and it looks like Michael Bay made it, and I don't know who the fuck it's for. And I don't think anybody who watches it knows what it's for either. You remind me of those Nintendo Switch adverts where apparently we all wear like khaki pants and tight t-shirts, and we go to rooftop barbecues where we play Mario Kart. The fuck am I watching? Like, who is this? Right? It was just insane. So it really annoyed the shit out of me. I was like, who is this for? Honestly, it's not for us. We're gamers, and you are gamers. That's what annoyed me the most about it, is you guys are gamers as well, but you don't look like it. Is it in here? Where's the fucking thing? You don't look like gamers, and it's weird. It's super weird, and I don't like it. Like this, you know, with like 20 jump cuts. Like this, look at cuts. Like out of focus, laughing, and cut again, different camera angles that are all switching around. There's like a smoke effect going on. Are we in a foggy room? Silent Hill happening? Right? It was just so weird. I was like, this is... It was bizarre. That's what I said. I was like, you look very disconnected. You look like so disconnected from the actual players who are playing your game that I just don't think it works. So I was like, but the point was, like, I don't know them, like, like we're not best friends. I'm not going to play tennis with Ian or anything. But I have spoken with them. It's like, they're just gamers. They're genuinely just gamers. So I was like, this just looks wrong. I think you're all over the place. So let's humanize it a little bit. Let's sit around and do like a podcast and humanize it. Bring it back in. I think for Blizzard, that'll do you a lot of good for your side. I think that'll do a lot of good. It's like to humanize you guys a bit. You know what I mean? I'm not scared Ian will crush you at tennis. I had a lovely dinner with Ian. It was awesome. We had a beer. We had a good time. It was good shit. It was really nice. Did you ask anything about your renown concerns being gated behind World Quest to grind in Dragonflight? No, not really. That's for the casual day-to-day player base. It's not a major concern of mine compared to their gaming philosophy overall. I think if it's overproduced, especially for the gaming world, I think it just falls flat. I think that's one of the reasons FF14 gets so much love from its player base, is their developer stuff is infinitely better, right? For gamers. There's a world of difference between what we just saw with the Dragonflight thing and just having this. So if you're a World of Warcraft guy, this is how FF14 does theirs. I'm not saying it's better or anything like that. I'm just saying, look at the difference. This is their lead developer, Yoshi P, who just like says, show my screen, and he plays the game. It's literally him playing to show off the new content. It's just way more chill and connected, like showing off the new mounts and stuff that you're going to be able to get. There's a connection here. This is basically just a live stream. Like, it's such a different thing compared to the side-by-side we just saw with other announcements. So this is an announcement for FF14. This is a new piece of content. They just fucking play the game. Or the game director plays the game on his character to show it off. Like, that's a way more connected style than very overproduced stuff. You know what I mean? It's just, this feels connected to players. And literally papers and screenshots. Yeah, he just lifts papers up, he has a laugh, he's just chilling and stuff. It's a good type of crusty presentation where it's relatively unfiltered. Yeah, it just feels like sitting down and shooting the shit like this is. You know what I mean? Mike does the same. Yeah, I think that's if I was to like push my expectations further than what I actually got, which I got way more than I expected. The only thing else I would have liked was to sit down with Mike Ibarra even for 10 minutes, because I really wanted to know, like, not just to sit with him, but what I wanted to know was, he walked into that shitstorm, he came in with Jen O'Neill, and then it all went down with Jen's pay not being right and him being like, why aren't we paying Jen the same? What the fuck? And then her leaving, and then he had to deal with, like, Jalen Brack was out. He walked into the shitstorm. I think his perspective on that would have been kind of invaluable for what we were talking about, is he came in during an absolute nightmare, trying to find his feet and sort out what the hell was going on. So I think that would have been invaluable, and I really pushed to get some time with him, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. Yeah. Did you find the graveyard where they developed Guardian Druid? I can tell you that Feral Druid was a topic of conversation, about how important it was to try and get Feral in there. I thought they were trolling, but no, they were pretty serious about it. It's like, if you love Feral, if Feral's your way to go, then we should be catering to that properly, and the combat team is doing what they can. Could you and Max set that up later when he's available to talk? As a CEO, he's generally never available to talk. I think BlizzCon, maybe. I mean, I can't fly back out to talk to Mike Ibarra. Like, that's not good enough. It's just a shame it didn't happen then. Ibarra's doing a good job, and I kind of wonder... They didn't tell me this, so this is my speculation. I kind of wonder if they don't want Mike Ibarra to really become kind of the celebrity style that has happened with a lot of the big names at Blizzard. It's part of the job to eventually be in the public eye. Like Chris Metzen, Mike Morhaime, J. Allen Brack. You know, these people kind of became public faces that were very recognizable and associated. Ian, Morgan, Tina, all these people are public eye. Halinka. I kind of wonder now they've got this CEO who does stream, but I doubt most gamers would recognize him in a room. I doubt most World of Warcraft fans would recognize him if he was in a room. And I kind of wonder they don't want Mike to have that more front-facing position. So, yeah, it's... I was interested whether that could be the approach. Can't you join his M Plus group for a day and get the time they want? No, because I don't have an American account. Maybe I'd have to account share, and that would be bad, guys. That would be bad. Did Riot MMO come in any conversation? No. The closest I got to Riot was literally driving past their offices. I saw all these people in business shirts and pants walking out like, we made $1 billion today in skins. That's all I saw from Riot, was all these business people coming out of the building. And then I saw someone walking in who was clearly more one of the devs, dressed as Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. So it was a stark contrast between the business side of Riot and like the actual working on stuff side of Riot as they went in. It was a very stark comparison to what was going on. When do you get to see them? Pretty soon. The team's working on it now, but at the moment I think they're ingesting all the footage. Like I said, there's many terabytes of data that we recorded going through this. Did you like this prop? Because the desk was so big, I said we need something on the table, otherwise it looks like this giant ass table. So we broke out this fucking card game to just try and break the table up and put little cards out and stuff, so it'd look more like we were actually doing something. The table's too big. It's way too big. Like, it was so disconnected. I was like, the table's just too huge. So we broke out a board game to put on there. It's the only thing I could think of to like give us that. It's a very nice table, and it extends. Yeah, it's an extended table. It's pretty good. Wait, Riot actually made something. I did not go in the Riot building. We drove past Riot on our way to see Max. It was like, it's weird to say, all these tech companies are next to each other. Like I said, we went to Denny's. Shout out to Denny's. And we walked past like Bandai Namco, Razer, Like, they're all just together in this. Basically, Irvine is one big business park. It's like a concrete square of businesses that are all big tech businesses, all the way there. Blizzard World, this is basically the campus, I think. It's just one big business park. Know what they need there? One of those tables with a TV in it for D&D with digital maps. I'll let them know. I don't know. Who won the board game? We never touched it. Anyone else comment about 14 all? Yes, several of them play Final Fantasy 14. Like, I was a little surprised, and I didn't know why. I was a little surprised. We talked about, especially over lunch. Like, if we were talking lunch, we talked about FF14 a lot. Like, Linksy, who was with us, was part of the transition team for 14 1.0 into A Realm Reborn. Like, she was working for Squeenix then. And many of them are big fans of FF14. I talked to Ian about Emmett Selk in a conversation about the jailer, which, I mean, why not? You know, yeah, I was, all I could say is, like I am here, I was as honest as I possibly could be. And if we were going to have that discussion, let's have that discussion, you know? Let's talk about it. Because if you can't have these discussions honestly while holding back stuff like that, it's not going to work. You know? It doesn't work that way. You've got to be as honest as you can be. Shirts of Bladed Soul, Black Desert. She was with the EverQuest team. If you talk about Holly, she was with EverQuest for like 9 years. And then she worked for Disney, Sony. Ridiculous history. Oh, this is Graham Berger. This guy is the future of WoW's combat. And good hands. Good hands. Yeah, him and his team are a very, very solid team when it comes to World of Warcraft combat. Yeah, he's the future there. This guy is top tier, absolutely top tier. I like that you went to see them face to face. That was the whole point. I was like, the whole purpose of it is because there's two ways this could have gone. We could have done something on Twitch, which is one, everybody has to watch what they're saying because you guys will meme the hell out of something, even if they're just, you know, riffing a little bit. And two, it's disconnected because we're doing it over the internet and you're sat in the comfort of your own home. And there's a very different vibe when you're actually in person and emoting, and that's happening in real time. So the only way I could possibly do what I wanted to do was to go there. Like, it's not like I wanted to spend all that money. It's not like, oh, we've got all this cash, we should burn it to do something we could actually do live in the office without going anywhere and not needing extra equipment. I mean, I had to haul all this equipment over myself. Like, this is all ours. Blizzard had no filming equipment, which is just insane to me. This is all our equipment that I had to haul over. I had to pay fines on the suitcases and all sorts to get it over there. Yeah, they had no filming equipment or anything, so this is all our stuff that we brought with us, which again was actually fine. The lights are theirs. That was the only thing they had. They had to borrow the lights. But the mic stands, I had to carry over. I had to dismantle these to get them over there. The tripods, the cameras, the lavalier microphones, the portable audio recorders, all that kind of stuff. This is all ours. So, yeah. But the lights we borrowed from their facilities, guys, which were awesome lights, actually. It worked out fine. But it worked super well. But, yeah, it was a pain. Any music about finally letting Yoshi P have his dream crossover with WoW? No, I did not ask that, no. Did you ever find the camera from PreachCon? Yes, we did. It had been put into a bag of underwear stuff. How long has the trip been planned in advance? I think about 3 months. Yeah, about 3 months in total, around that number, from conception to actually happening. It was cancelled once in during that time. Purely so for two reasons. One, I didn't want the video to be the Dragonflight release date announcement, which is Blizzard were looking for some way to make it worthwhile for them. So they're like, well, we can actually line this up with when we're announcing the release date. Like they told me that on this date, so we'll line it up with that. And I was like, But also, if we left it a little bit longer, we could have got more people. And I wanted everybody. I kept answering that. It's like, well, who's it you want to talk to? Like, everybody who works there. Give it all there. Want to see all the video from there? Yeah. We did just skip through some of the videos. A little bit of the videos, but like I say, more like B-roll of just walking around the campus and whatnot is what we had a look at. Has Ian played FF14? I don't think Ian has. Oh, he might have done. I didn't talk to Ian about that, actually, whether he played FF14. He's aware of certain things in FF14, for sure. Yeah, I don't think we talked to Ian about that. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. 7,000 person to you, everybody. I want everybody. Like, I was very aware, and in fact, I went to some people who no longer work at Blizzard, and we asked for who are the heroes who aren't in front of camera, but are really, really the people who know what the fuck is going on. Because obviously there's certain people that are always on camera, but there's so many people working there. Let's find out who they are. Yeah, it was nice. I mean, I got some very selfish bonuses out of this. Like, I got to speak to some of the people who designed my favorite encounters in World of Warcraft and their thought process behind them and what led them to make the fights the way they did, their inspiration and stuff. Like, talking to those people was like fan fiction for me. It was really good. So like, that stuff was great. Like, you know, talking to those people who've made some of my favorite gaming memories was exactly why we were there, right? Not giving up on WoW. Let's see what's changing. But yeah, having that conversation was so good. Good Chipotle book. I can see that Tracer's buttocks are still there. Yep. A lot of the... it kind of shows a lot of the stuff people bitch about online is kind of nonsense compared to the actual place. Like, they don't see it that way at all. Not at all. I mean, there's statues all the way through. You'll see it all the way through. Did you deliver a manifesto? No. It's well past that now. Lots of pink hair and expression going out of cafeteria. Yeah, a lot of people dressing however they want, which is hilarious, apparently. I guess. People online are all over dramatic, just like they see somebody who died. Oh, there's somebody who didn't dye their hair. Perhaps they're not inclusive. Is that how you look at the world? Is it? Or is it just that you're a bit of a cunt? It's probably that, isn't it? When you realistically think about it. It's probably that. It is. It's probably that. It is. It's probably that when you think about it. Are you optimistic about Dragonflight? I said to Ian, I think Dragonflight is a little feature light right now for me. I think it's going to do well. Like, they're starting this third era, right? I mean, I'm coining that term. I'm not sure if it's an internal phrase for it, but like a third era of WoW is starting. Dragonflight, as we kind of said after our first look at it, Dragonflight right now is a really, really good foundation for where they're going. Especially like we talked about earlier, if you didn't see it, this modular design that's changing, which I didn't even know existed, but it does. This modular design is going to be shifting away, an overarching story that's going to last a few expansions I'm very excited about. So I've actually got something to look forward to. I think the next two patches in Dragonflight are going to be kind of big. Kind of fucking big. That's how I feel about it right now. I think there'll be... I kind of look at patch 1 of Dragonflight being the patch where word of mouth starts to spread of there's no more of that bullshit. That's kind of how I predict it's going to go. Dragonflight has got some really cool stuff in it. The dragonflying is obviously the main feature. It's going to be hard not to enjoy it. Somebody won't enjoy it. They always do. But, yeah, they're going to be... I think this is where word of mouth spreads. Oh, right, they still got all the daily quests. No. Oh, do I still have to do X and Y before I can, like, play the game? No. That's all gone. It's gone, and it's staying that way. Evokers, yeah, you can soar, you can do dragon flying. There's races that you can do with other people. You could jump straight into Mythic Plus and raiding without any nonsense. You could just get going, no problem. That's all in Dragonflight. And I think the word of mouth will be there, and then they need to start bringing some features in. That's what I think they're going to do. Is the Emmett Selk display available? No, it's not. We should have I think it should be available sometime around Christmas, maybe. We're still in talks with Squeenix. Yeah, about that. Yeah. I did not talk about PvP. I don't know anything. We talked about the 0.3 patch thing, actually. We did. I'll save that for the actual video, but we did talk about this this idea that, you know, people like me bitching and crying about things being wrong in the beginning, and then it's always fixed by 0.3. That ludicrous cycle they got themselves in. So we did talk about that and what led to that and why that happens and stuff like that. It was... yeah, but that I'll save it for the actual video itself because I think that's an important one. Do you think they'll suffer from content drought until 10? No, I don't actually. No. From what I can tell, or what I hope, this is Dragonflight's like a foundation. So I think some people will be a little bored in the first patch of Dragonflight, certainly a couple of months in. I think they're kind of okay with that as well, though. Like, they're not trying to force you to play every single day. Like, the market just doesn't even allow for that now. I think they're a little bit more open. In fact, I know they are. They're a bit more open to the fact that if you want to raid log and that's how you enjoy the game, that's fine. That's fine. In fact, that's word for word what came from someone's mouth in the interviews. It's like, if you just want to fucking raid log and that's how you enjoy playing our game, we shouldn't be standing in the way of that. If you want something to do every single day, we shouldn't stand in the way of that either. But what we shouldn't be doing is ramming it down your throat. We should incentivize you to play content because, like, statistically, if they don't put a decent incentive, doesn't need to be power, into their content, then nobody plays it. That's World of Warcraft in a nutshell. We talked about Suramar. It's like, well, if we don't stick a bunch of, like, artifact power into Suramar, then people just don't play it. Like, that's just the nature of it, and it is wasted content. But so we put some incentive for you to go there and be there. So yeah, that was where we're at. Why did it take 8 years for them to realize that? Again, because of the patch cycle, I think it probably doesn't make much sense now. But they start making their expansions like they already know what the next WoW expansion is now after Dragonflight, and they're already working on it, right? In some regard, and it leads to this really awkward process. We talked about it a bit before. It's like a lot of things that aren't never meant to exist in the next expansion just disappear, and they come across as failures to us, which they're not. Like, not designed that way. That's trash. Where's the exactly? So they're changing that. Like, one of the most exciting things I heard was this long-standing story arc they're moving to. Did you also know how to keep content of all kinds feeling fresh? So just feel like a rehash of older content? No, I'm not sure I even agree with that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not sure I even agree with that. You asked about housing? No, I already have the answer to that. Housing's not coming anytime soon. It needs an engine rework. To be the housing you want it to be, right? To be the housing you want it to be with full customization, is the engine just absolutely does not support that. What are you doing?
Cleaning up.
Cleaning up?
You made a mess.
Well, I had to open the thing, man. Yeah, it needs like an engine rework to get it in. Because you guys, like, and I'm the same. You want the housing to be even better than probably FF14's housing system. And if you watched our Halloween competition last night, it's pretty good. And the game just doesn't support it right now. It'd be like a weird mix of Garrison stuff where you have pre-placed positions to put stuff. So, yeah, it's not there. He talked to us all about them starting to pump life into older content via the M+ dungeon rotation. Yes, actually, one of the biggest conversations we had was on evergreen content and their lack of evergreen content and their move to evergreen content, starting with Season 4. Bethany up close. Yes, we talked a lot about that. We did. We talked a lot about it. It's I think it's one of the most important topics right now is content that is designed to last into the next expansion. If you check the VOD of this conversation, I actually explained something called modular content, which is something they had been the way they've been working in the past and is going to be changing. And you'll be surprised because it was honestly something I'd never even considered was what they did, and it's absolutely what they were doing. And it just came across totally different to us as players, even though it was fully intended from the start, and it's not good. Do you think Blizz will already have plans to have Dragonflight head to the trash can because they can't keep the content release schedules? No, I think that's a really pessimistic way of looking at it. No, not at all. It was by design. Yeah, a lot of features that we're used to that just get ditched garrisons, class halls, warfronts, island expeditions. All that stuff is actually designed to never exist in the next expansion, or be expanded upon, I should say, or iterated on. It's designed to fit that one expansion and then to not work in the next one. Mainly because, like I said, they start working on the expansions very, very early. And they know that, like, oh, well, island expeditions don't fit into the Shadowlands because there's no boats. Right? It's similar things. It sounds poor, but not for them, because the way they look at it is the tech they design that goes into making those features, that still exists, and they still utilize that going forward. It's just presented in a different way. So the tech that goes into, say, Island Exposition AI, which is the big revolution that they did there, that is utilized in NPC things going forward. So from a developer perspective, it's absolutely not a waste. They take all the tech they develop from it and they just present it in a different way to you going forward. But for us, it's like, oh, warfronts were shit, so they took them away. The reality is, warfronts were never meant to exist at all. They weren't designed with that in mind. They weren't supposed to carry on. But from our perspective, like, that just comes across as like abject failure after abject failure because you keep ditching it. What?
Invasions being an example.
Invasions, yeah, which they're
reskinned each time, but it's fundamentally the same.
Yeah, it's fundamentally the same tech presented in a different way. Yeah, exactly. So exactly that way. What's the design choice for the modular design there from the beginning or only recently, say from Qatar onwards? I think that would fall into what they're calling Era 2 of World of Warcraft, which is kind of Legion onwards. WoD Legion, that era, to WoD Legion all the way to Shadowlands. That's kind of Era 2-ish. And now we're moving into Era 3. It does make sense from that perspective. It's just odd, you know? It just seems odd to us, but for them it makes total sense. I think that's a public perception issue more than anything else. Yeah. Do you think that it would have translated better if they communicated it? Yes! Like, I had no idea. I've been involved in fucking critiquing this game for like 15 years. I had no idea. I would have just said you removed garrisons because people hated them. Right? That's the old idea. And they're like, well, garrisons wouldn't have worked. No, it's just that garrisons don't make sense in what came after what? Legion. Garrisons don't make sense. So the garrisons were designed for WoD, and they were never intended to go any further than that. I was like, all right, I guess. Will Torghast continue to be improved? No, I don't think so. My impression that I got is that Era 3, starting with Dragonflight, has a much more focus on evergreen content, which means the stuff we should see coming out in the future and with Dragonflight should be much more built to be around in the future. That's kind of the impression I got. The proof will be in the pudding on that one, but that's kind of the impression I got. Server identity. We had a good talk about the social elements, a really good talk, because I don't know about you guys, but I really hate that for the most part, I look at other players as basically NPCs who should be there to serve my desires and my goals. And I just see pink, brown, green, whatever. Like, I really detest that in my MMO experience. If I go into a Mythic Plus, these 4 people might as well just be there to cater to my every whim, and if they don't, I now think they're toxic. The big move to start... So they are doing stuff about that. They are doing something about it. The big move to start that process is actually the new profession system. The new profession system is totally designed to start putting names back to players. So yes, that's nice. While we're hiding something from you, this is Nups who's filming is intentionally making sure you can't see something that you weren't supposed to see. You'll see the camera doing that sometimes. It's like hiding something you're not supposed to see. Yes, so the new profession system, the work order system, all that is very much designed to put the names back to players. Nups is best. Nups is being very careful about what we can and can't show you here. Like I say, this is non-public access where we are in this video. Should be safe here. Anything about fixing dead servers? No, that's more like interviewy stuff. Again, we basically talk podcasts, much more philosophical stuff, what the core game design is going to change rather than very specific things. That was the point. The janitor, hardhead. So make crafting min-maxing because you can only have 2 professions and get talent in specific paths. Well, you can take everything, right? The new profession system. If you love professions, you can get everything. But what they want to do is for you to give a shit about what they want is for you to be like, yeah, anybody can do general stuff, but if you want really good boots, you need to go and see Miss Bungle. Miss Bungle is like, there's nobody who makes the best boots like Miss Bungle does. She'll get everything you need, get you the 5 stars, all the affixes you need on it. But if you want gloves, you need to go and see Medias. Medias is the gloves person on your server or whatever it is. Graphical updates, we didn't talk about that at all. Boot guy, yeah, it's Sentry's like weapons guy, you know what I mean? Involvement in the community that's like the race to world first. I didn't ask about that. I don't particularly want Blizzard involved in the race to world first. It's good as a community. I think if Blizzard gets involved in race to world first, they will probably sanitize it a bit, and I'm not sure what would happen to sponsorships and whatnot. I kind of want the players to be in charge of the race to world first, not really Blizzard. It'd be nice to have better communication, but like I say, the race to world first does have some communication lines to Blizzard. Yeah, it'll lose authenticity. Yeah, there's a definite element of that. So yeah, I think it's better in the hands of the players. And also, I don't think Blizzard wants involved in it. Like managing, like, even if they just took Echo and Liquid, between those 2 teams, that's like 60+ people, right? That's a lot of people's personalities to manage and take care of when someone could lose their mind at any moment and start screaming and smashing things. I mean, there's only one Rich Campbell, but look where he went. You know. Also, shout outs to Rich, who almost dived on a plane once he found out we were in LA. Literally, Max. Yeah, we were having lunch with Max. Max took us to this burger place, and he went, "Well, you know, Rich lives in LA now." And I was like, "No, he lives in New York and Texas, right? Texas for OTK, and he has a place in New York." He's like, "No, he's not in New York now. He's moved to LA." So I grabbed my phone and I went, "You're in LA? I'm in LA." And he went. He called me back straight away. He's like, "No, I'm in Texas. You're in LA?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're in LA right now." He's like, "I'm getting on a plane." But he had to do some fucking dodgeball thing with OTK. And then he just said, "All right, I'm going to try and get a plane." I'm like, "Dude, we're exhausted. I'm flying out tomorrow. Like, it's not happening." So I didn't get to see Rich. But he was basically like, "I'm getting on a plane. I'll be there as soon as I possibly can to get down to us." Sorry, Pete, but maybe it's answer. Was there any word about paladins being ranged? Melee class that is ranged just a cold concept? I'd never talked about that stuff at all. No. When it came to talking to the combat team, it was more about how the combat actually works. You know, the RNG involved with it, the lag problems that get caused with it. Their focus on non-homogenizing classes. Again, more of a philosophical point of view of how they approach class design in World of Warcraft, especially with the Evoker coming. Like how they make sure that every class is individual. Because as they pointed out, there is not 12 classes in World of Warcraft. There's 50, right? Because each of the specs, yeah, Warlock has 3 specs, but they're so different. They're essentially different classes. So that's something they really like. Didn't visit Zeppler. As pointed out, Zeppler did not come and visit me. I told Zeppler weeks ago that we were going to be there. She couldn't be asked. Did your DICE video get brought up with the combat team? No, I mean, they've already talked about that DICE video. We were pretty much on the money with that. As long as, yeah, it upsets some fucking guy who once watched a YouTube video on how servers work. But the reality is we were pretty bang on the money with the DICE video. We were pretty much there. Yeah. Imagine they're not traveling to the US to meet up. I know. I mean, she was a whole hour away. Sag. Big sadness. Zeppler skipped. She did. She did. Did you do an in-depth lore explanation for the existence of ducks in Warcraft? No. We did talk about ducks, though. That's what I meant. That's what I'm saying. It's like I wanted the conversation to be like that. If we veer off to talking about ducks, the last thing I want is like we can't in my head like we can't talk about this because I'm running out of time. That was the whole point. It's like if that conversation comes up, no, it's not a big topic. No, it's probably not even going to make it into the bigger video. But that's where the conversation is. That's where the conversation is. It's natural. Like, just having a giggle for 30 seconds about stupid duck stuff. That's fine. So I didn't want to be like, yeah, we should move on quickly. So that's why the free time is important. I did talk about MSL. Yeah, they're aware of it. Like, a lot of them play Final Fantasy 14 and other MMOs as well. Yeah, it's not a big secret that the developers of these MMOs are aware and play the other games. It's not a big surprise by any means. Not a big surprise. Too far. You were talking about evergreen content earlier. Does that mean Dragon Riding is going to be expanded upon past Dragonfly? I believe so. I didn't get confirmation on that because they're still in the early days of the next expansion. But the mindset, this is what we're talking about, right, with these meetings. It was the mindset. The mindset is, if you've learned how to ride a dragon, then probably you've learned how to ride a fucking dragon. Like, that makes more sense than, say, BFA, where you're trying to convince some fucking gnomes that lived under the sea for 10,000 years to be your best friend, and that'll teach you how to fly for some reason. Question mark, question mark. Totally logically makes sense. Right? Like, you've learned how to do it. So, you should probably be able to do it. Not wrong. Yeah, it's nonsensical, right? It's nonsensical. Do you think you could achieve a meeting between Ian and Yoshi P and have a conversation about gaming in general? I would cream my pants if I could make that happen. I don't know Yoshi P, so I'm not even sure how I would go about that. We've been trying to get something going with Yoshi P for a long time now, maybe 7 months. Not really made much headway on that because he just... In fact, the general consensus on the Blizzard campus with the people who are aware of Yoshi P is like everybody's just worried about his health. Like, that guy works so hard, lives on coffee and cigarettes, seemingly never sleeps. Like, at some point, everyone's worried that that's going to catch up to him. Like, that's a big fear from, because like Linksy knows him. She works with them a lot. Yeah, it's. That was the general thought process when Yoshi P's came up. Is just worried about his general health. Like, it's going to catch up at some point. Yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. But yeah, if I could somehow get Yoshi P and Ian into a call, even online, and just sit there smiling like a Cheshire cat. Wow, that would be pretty amazing. Dragon riding is staying with Dragonflight only. Yeah. I'm not surprised, but it's one of those things we'll see. Like I say, I've got all this information that I'll show you there from their mouths, but yeah, as to specifics, I didn't get that. Specific features. It was talking about what we're doing going forward, so pretty interested to see that. It should be pretty good. Right, let's have a pee, and then let's do some gaming, because we haven't done any gaming at all today. We just sat and talked. I think that's everything. If there's anything I've not answered that you're kind of curious about and I can answer, let me know in a minute, and I'll try and wrap it up for you. Oh, sorry. I was just reading that question then. Sorry, dudes. Where was it? Shit, you talk too fast. Help. It was about whether they're like more theme parks or game dev studios. I can tell you one thing that was really cool is that they have way more creative people. I think we've got like 2 hours or something before the Mythic Plus closes. So let's go there. So anybody who wants to do Mythic Plus on the beta who has it, we can check it. Because I do want to check the Mythic Plus out. Dragonflight update. They're not short of ideas. The amount of ideas they get per expansion is insane, of features and things that would be cool and all that kind of stuff. The hard part is what they're picking. Did you guys do anything on none of the exec devs? Yes. Not as a sit down, off the cuff Pixie. So, like I say, it was more like a great example would be Brian Birmingham, who's in charge of WoW Classic. He was just getting out of his car in the car park as we were walking through, and Randy just went, "Oh, you want to talk to this guy? Let me introduce you." Like, there was a lot of that went on while I was on campus. It's like, "Oh, you should talk to this guy. Oh, you should talk to this lady. She's like a good deal." So that'll be stuff that'll be done in more like my voiceover. We didn't have cameras with us. It was like we're just walking around and like, "Oh yeah, this person's awesome. You should talk to this person." That went on. Hear people on the shop floor. Yeah, exactly. That's what we said. Like in our initial talks with Blizzard setting this up, they basically just said, "Who do you want to talk to?" And obviously my first answer was everybody. But then I said we reached out to like Josh and a couple of other people who used to work at Blizzard, who we know, and we just said, "Who do you think we should talk to?" Because we only know the names that are in the public eye. They gave me a list of names, and I sent that back to Blizzard saying I want to talk to these people if possible, and then they figured a way of getting us in there. Did Ian accept a Pringle? No, I was the only one forced to eat those Pringles, and I do not like Pringles. But we were in the supermarket, me and Nups, because like I'd written the script for that little skit. I'm not sure if I've got it to hand. I had to write it like a proper script. I'm not sure if I have it. Where is it? There it is. And we were in the supermarket, which it's America, so there's like 2 mile-long aisles of different crisps to choose from. And the big discussion was on the one bag was too loud. So that's why we went with Pringles, because the bag didn't make a noise because it's in the can. Yeah, so the goal was to create a self-generating interest for the visit, a short but rewatchable clip, and fuel speculation among potential viewers. So you got to write it like the marketing thing. So that's why it had no text. We didn't say we were going. It was just to make something that would just have everything in it needed to be, and that people could get a laugh out of. So, exterior Blizzard Campus Orc statue. I said this to him a while ago. Open on mic, sat beneath the statue out of frame, which we didn't manage to do because I'd never seen the statue before. I didn't realize that it was blatantly obvious where we were, but the intention was that you would not know that we were on the campus. Mike munching on some potato chips. Hey guys, sorry about this, but there's going to be no stream this week, which is what we did. Mike offers a chip to someone sat next to him out of frame. Camera pans over to reveal Ian browsing on his phone. Ian glances at the bag of chips, confused that Mike, who is out of frame, didn't you quit? Which was obviously a big punchline. Camera goes back to Mike looking pissed off. Sigh, that's not what I said. Camera pans up to the statue and ends. That was all I sent. That's the document. That's the actual document I sent to Blizzard of my idea. Yeah, it works. So, good shit. Good shit. Yeah, it worked fine. It worked totally fine.